See the Galactic Soul, the Honorable Brother, the Revolutionary yourself, Darius Lockhart, and I'm here to tell you to watch Powerbombshells every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. That's right, every Sunday at 1 p.m., and that's on time, every time, because when we stand together, what time is it? That's right, it's nation time.
Welcome to Powerbombshells 202. I'm Mel.
222.
To what the?
I said on 222.
On 222, it's 202. I'm Mel. That's Sam. We are a little late, but we're not late because, again, we're on Wizard time, so we arrive exactly when we mean to.
Exactly.
And it's just because we are trying to get you guys.
I'm trying to add a piece of audio for something. If it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world, but it's just
the point
being aggravating and not wanting to cooperate. And so
Sam's a comprehensive person. A lot happened this week, and this is one of the few platforms she gets to talk about it on. So if we can have a couple of nice things once in a while, you know, we'll just
the clip is it's just something that because like Mel said, a lot happened this week, and we'll get to it shortly. But thank you for being patient with us, and thank you for being active in the chat already. I see some of you talking about my not favorite tag team, FTR, which is funny because I wore my Revolt shirt today. Not because of FTR. I was going through my closet and I was like, oh, I haven't worn that shirt in a while. And also, Revolt is a good message considering, everything. And so that's why I really wore it. However, it also helps that because of FTR being on TV last night, and Robert says that FTR are great hills because he almost put his fist through the TV.
I mean, they do their job if they do nothing.
They're really good at making you want to punch them in the face.
This is true.
Whether that's good heel work or not for wanting to punch them in the face, that could be up for debate. But Curry Head said, I can't wait for Sam's discussion on our favorite tag team, FTR. Well, first of all, Tony waited until the last. I mean, I know it's because apparently going into even Dynamite, there were people dealing with illness from flying back and forth between the States and Australia, and then I think there were some injury concerns, and so they had to apparently book Dynamite. Other than like a couple of matches, they kind of winged it, and they clearly did it with Collision last night. Like, I have no problem with the swirl being on AEW television, but when we have an ROH tag team facing the Young Bucks, I was like, oh, are we like depleted? And then we got a standby women's match that I haven't timed yet, but lasted probably less than a minute against an enhancement talent. And so we got 3 tag team matches last night, and FTR versus the Rascals was added last minute. They kind of, I mean, obviously the way it's set up, it clearly was pre-planned because of what they did at the end, but like they announced the match during the show. Like it wasn't even a pre-announced match. So Curry Head, you better watch it. Everyone knows Sam wants FTR to hold the titles for a whole year. I think if anything, like I already assumed that, and I guess, I don't know if we should talk about it now, are we? It is on our list of things to talk about. So I guess I can I'll make you wait. We'll hold off on that. Especially because we're going to talk about some not great stuff at the beginning. So we want to save the fun stuff. So we send you out on that note and not on the bad stuff. So we'll circle back to that.
We have some serious stuff we have to talk to, so we'll save the fun stuff for the end so that we can,
as we generally do. If you've been here with us, you know that we like to do the not fun stuff at the beginning, to talk about it, say what we need to say, and then cover the not so serious stuff and the other things, so that we send you out. So you don't, not that you can't think about what we talked about at the beginning, but so that's not the last thing we leave you on.
So we leave you on a wrestling high note, not a wrestling low note, because we all really do at the end of the day love wrestling, and that's the only reason that we do this sort of thing. It makes it hard sometimes, but
Fernando. He said they're gonna have a 3-year reign like Roman. Having a 3-year reign like Roman Reigns would be great. For whom?
I mean, the sad part is that I think Tony Khan might agree with you. And
he probably would, Fernando. Please don't give him any ideas. Please don't encourage that behavior.
Seriously,
because he's probably, knowing him, he's already thought about it and been like, how can I get away with this? Because isn't there a team in CMLL that's had the tag titles for like 4 years now? I believe that there is. I think
it wouldn't surprise me.
I know what they like. I can see them, but I can't remember their name because I'm not super familiar with CMLL. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they've had the titles for like 4 years, and I believe one half of that tag team is getting ready to have a match with Johnny TV because Johnny's been there a lot, and they're going to have a hair versus hair match. So Johnny TV.
There's a lot of hair these days.
Yeah, and Johnny TV is putting his hair on the line, which sounds like which is a pretty big deal, especially.
My hair's so long right now. I'm willing to go to have a hair match to get it cut at this point. I mean, I know I'm gonna lose.
I do not want a haircut from Mina Shirakawa, though. Please.
No, definitely not.
Stay in the ring. You're a great wrestler. Please don't cut my hair.
No. Actually, I think I want to go to Mexico to have a hair match because they are the ones that do the most. They do it the most. And so I would trust their people to meet.
They probably wet your hair first.
And that's what I'm saying. There's so many hair matches in Mexican, like in Lucha, that I feel like if I'm going to go get lose my hair in a hair match, and that'd be fun as hell anyway, because it's like Arena Mexico, the crowd's like freaking out. And I have a better chance of them wetting my head and actually like doing
and properly doing it. Yeah.
Instead of the guys, I mean, listen, we're talking about a group of people who let Luchasaurus just pull a freaking vacuum out of a closet.
This is true.
Like, because they don't plan properly. And Luther was dressed for it. So I still maintain that Luther had everything there ready to go.
He did. Like, shout out to him for having the barbicide and everything so that the equipment was sanitized properly.
Correct. Somebody missed a step there. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
We missed a few steps. Poor Wheeler. And even though Yuta is wearing a beanie on his head as because Takeshita tried to rip it off, which is just rude when you look at Takeshita's beautiful hair. And Yuta
also,
yelled,
they probably like scarred him for life, so he's got to
yelled, "This is part of my gear," when he tried to rip his hat off. But
what I love is
for internet, you have seen that Yuta wrestled at an indie show on Friday, and his opponent ripped his hat off his head, and there are blurry pictures of him on the internet, and you can see just how short his hair is. And it is quite short. And so I think they probably weren't expecting the indie pictures to get out. I assume they're going to save this on TV where we have this big dramatic moment where
Dynamite.
And you see, like, all through the match, Yuta would make sure his hat was still on, or he would hold it. He's walking out through the crowd with making sure his hat was no fans ripped his hat off on the way out. So, which I think is a fun little bit that they've added to it to kind of like extend whatever it is. And
my favorite part, Sam, I got to tell you, because it was very regional for us, is that because Excalibur is also from here in the Metro Detroit area, he called it a chook, which is what we call those
Yes, I
kinds
heard
of
him
hats.
say it, and that's also what Josiah called it.
And so it must be us cold weather people, because Bob was very excited when he was like, he called it a chook. I'm like, he's from here.
Yeah, I heard him, and it's funny because Josiah had called it that too, and then he said a beanie for you Americans, which I mean, I know that that's what it. That obviously there's multiple.
Well, I mean, Michigan and Canada are really close together. I mean,
you are very close. Yeah, Danielson said that he was mad at Moxley on Wednesday for not letting Yuta come through the crowd without a hat on. Because Danielson wants to see. Obviously, Danielson has reasons for hating Wheeler Yuta. He has legitimate reasons for hating Wheeler Yuta and John Moxley. So,
true story.
All right. I guess before we go down too far into the fun stuff, we have to get to the not great stuff. So even
with that, by the way,
prior to the Janelle stuff, which we will get to, the Carolina indie scene was hit really hard by 2 deaths. on, I think, February the 12th, because it was, I believe the show was scheduled for Valentine's Day. So I think it was that Thursday. Apple City Championship Wrestling is a promotion here in North Carolina. I have not been to a show, but I have a friend, my friend Matthew, who listens. He has been, I believe, to a couple of shows, and he will be going to the next show. I don't have the exact details, so hopefully I'm not getting this wrong. I'm just going by the information that I have. So apologies ahead of time if I don't get this exactly right. But they had a trainee, Darren Atkin, who was just 20 years old. On practice on Thursday, something happened and he suffered a head injury. The head injury caused a seizure, which caused a heart attack, and he passed away. And so they obviously canceled Saturday show on Valentine's Day. And they didn't really say much. And so it was hard to find out details. My friends were trying to kind of piece together what they could. And then that's when they found out the bit of information we do know. Apple City was going to just shut down. They were just like, how can we continue after something so tragic? But the family really pushed them to continue going. The family, apparently, from what I understand, really, really wants them to continue operating because Darren loved it so much. And it was obviously an accident. And so moving forward, instead of doing yearly anniversary shows for the promotion, they will now be memorial shows for Darren. And the money raised will go to his family. I believe the first memorial show, I want to say March 14th. I do know for sure it's next month. They're bringing in a ton of different wrestlers from the area to honor Darren. And they've gotten a lot of community activity with other businesses who are donating services or donating. I think they're donating that way. I don't know if they're doing like an auction type thing I know they're donating services. And so they've turned a tragedy into something that sounds like it's going to be a really positive thing, or, hopefully help Darren's family, as they go through this, because I believe that there is also a GoFundMe for him, because obviously this was super unexpected. I don't know what they had in place as far as, funeral things and like that. So I know that that's happening. And then just 5 days later, on Tuesday, we learned that Brett Wolverton had passed away. And Brett Wolverton has been a ring announcer in the Carolina indie scene for 20 years. He was PWX's ring announcer for years. Nikki and I, and our whole group that went to PWX, we talked to him all the time. We do have friends in our group who were a lot closer to him than we were. And so that, his death has definitely hit them really hard on a different level. But he also, since PWX has not been in existence, I know that he was also doing commentary for Turbo Wrestling in South Carolina and for OSCW, I think it's Old School Championship Wrestling, and they're getting ready to celebrate their own 20th anniversary. And Brett was going to be a big part of that. And so his death has just really rocked the community even more so. Even though I did not know Brett well, he was kind. He was always smiling. He lit up a room. I never heard one negative thing about him. And that's what I kept seeing, like going through posts on his Facebook page. Obviously, people were sharing all kinds of things. And that was a recurring theme that I saw, was nobody ever had anything bad to say about Brett. And as good as he was at ring announcing, he was an even better human being. And he was so good at ring announcing that the Carolina Professional Wrestling Awards, he won Ring Announcer of the Year something like 12 times. And he removed himself from the ballot because he was winning so much. I know that there has been talk of renaming that award to the Brett Wolverton Memorial Award or something along those lines. I believe that I don't know that it's official, but I know it's being discussed. Fans had recommended it, but I believe people who were involved in the awards have also talked about it. And so I don't know that it's been made official, but I believe that's happening. But Brett was just 44 years old. From what we have heard, I have not heard yet what the cause of death was. I do know that Monday night he had posted on his Facebook twice. So like he was posting as late as Monday evening. And then I don't know if he passed somewhere, like if he passed Monday night or if he passed on Tuesday, but the news came out on Tuesday. And he also, in addition to being involved in the wrestling industry, he also was a video editor for Fox News Carolinas in Greenville, South Carolina, and he had been a video producer there for 20 years. And his coworkers had just a lot of lovely things to say about him. And then also another thing about Brett is he earned the nickname Bretty Crocker for being a very good baker and a good cook. And he would make desserts and then he'd bring them to the shows and sell them. And I did try his chocolate chip cookies and they were incredible. And now I completely understand why he earned the nickname that he did. And he was really involved in the community. I believe that the Fox News Carolina group said that every year they did some stuff with the Salvation Army. And so he always did work with them. So he was involved in the community in a lot of different ways. And Nikki had mentioned that some wrestlers said that they had just seen him days before his death. He was apparently at an event in Augusta on Friday of the week prior, and they had just seen him. And our friend Doug just spoke to him last week. So obviously you can tell this was extremely sudden. But as I was reading through the different things about Brett, someone had mentioned. I saw the picture first, and it was a picture of Hulk Hogan in a sleeveless referee shirt, and Brett was behind him. So I was reading the story that was with it. And so way back in 2008, there was a wrestling event that was put on at a high school. And the match, what part of the match was Ric Flair wrestled with his sons, Reed and David. And Hulk was the special guest referee for this match. And Brett was the ring announcer for this, and the person who was talking about it was saying that Brett was really excited about this. This was a huge night for him to be involved with Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, especially obviously being involved with Ric Flair in the Carolinas. Also, this was Reed early on in his career. Sadly, Reed passed away in 2013. So this was about 5 years prior to that. David was also there. Yes, they faced the Nasty Boys. And I can't remember if this was I think this was raising money for something. So anyway, as I was reading it, Nikki was also doing the same thing. Like we were both on different couches going through Brett's Facebook, and she had got to that post just before I did. And I said, we were at that event. And she was like, I know. She was like, I was waiting for you to get to it so I could say something. And so I went to my Facebook photo albums and I found pictures from 2008 where we were at that event. And sure enough, Brett is in those pictures. His back is to us because we were from where we were sitting. He was behind us. But I have quite a few pictures from that event. Ricky Steamboat Jr. was also on that card. So I was going through the pictures and you can see Brett in probably 6 or 7 photos, and there's one he's getting out of the ring. And so I posted them the other day, and I'm so happy I have those photos, but I wish that I had realized that Brett was in those photos so that I could have talked to him about it and shown him the photos. I mean, granted, this was on a 2008 cell phone, so the photos were not the greatest. But they were there. They're clear enough that you can see like who is in there. You can tell that it's Ric Flair. And I mean, it's very unmistakable that it's Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan and the Nasty Boys. And you can see Nasty Boys on the back of their jacket. So it's very clear, but I wish that I had been able to talk to him about it because I can only imagine the stories he had from that night and to get to talk to him. And I did see a few people were talking about last year he was at WrestleCade and he got to call because at WrestleCade they always have a wrestling show, and he got to be the ring announcer, and that was apparently a big bucket list item for him, and he got to do that last year. So I'm really glad that he was able to do that. And before we move on, so I just wanted to talk about Brett briefly because he did really mean a lot to this. And I have a clip that I want to play just very quickly in honor of Brett that a friend of that our friends Doug and Kat, they had this clip. Kat had the foresight to ask him to record his famous line that he always said to bring us into the main event, because he held out main event for so long, we would do our fingers along with him when he was saying main, and then our group started doing it, and then other people in the audience would start to do it, and it was something that picked up towards for a little while, and it was really cool. And yes, Nikki said she's always going to remember him and his saying, "Take the picture." Eric Crowder is also somebody who does that, but especially in wrestling, don't feel embarrassed. Take the picture, because thankfully we had a group picture that we posted that
in life.
Posted. And so I have a group picture of most of our group. We're missing a few people, but most of our group with Brett. And so take the picture, because you never know.
Always take the picture. Sadly, I lost people before cameras were in everyone's hands, but I've also lost people since they've been in people's hands. And the difference makes a lot because you'll scroll through those and you'll find those. And that happiness is where you connect with those people again. I just condolences to all of, when someone's made.
Sorry.
No, you're okay.
I was getting it.
I don't want to talk over it.
No, I didn't mean to. I didn't think
you're
it.
Good.
I would be ready, and I didn't mean to play it. I'm sorry. Please continue.
No, I was just giving my condolences to you guys. That is that's horrible that and to have so many in a week, and to have the young one, and obviously with very close to home. So and condolences to his family and friends. That's bad.
Yeah, and Brett actually called Darius, who was at the beginning of this. I met him through PWX. Actually, this particular Revolt shirt was because while it was Zane and Caleb, there was a period of time where Darius was in the Revolt with them, and his name is on this shirt as well. And Brett, of course, called Revolt matches. He called Hangman Page matches when he was just Adam Page in his John Deere hat and his green trunks. Brett probably called. I think Brett was still there when Hangman was there. I think they did cross paths, so he's probably familiar with him. But yes, but Brett did call some Darius matches, and one of the things that Doug had talked to him about previously was he was wanting to get up to Charlotte for an Ashe show, and it just never worked out, which is unfortunate. And so I do want to play this clip really quickly in honor of Brett.
It is now time for the main event of the evening.
Oh, sorry. I was making sure that wasn't going to play again.
No, I unlooped it.
Okay, thank you.
I fixed it out.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for Mel to helping me get. So that's the clip that I was trying to prepare. That's why we were late today. But I just wanted to pay that little tribute to Brett. And I did see it was Brett. Jim Valley actually knew Brett.
Mm-hmm.
They met, which is so funny. Our wrestling world is so small in some cases. But Jim posted about him too. Jim met him several years ago, and they became friends. And I know SE Scoops covered his death. There was one other Post Wrestling, I believe, also covered it. So did Fightful. Post was doing on their Post Wrestling. I saw they were doing on their podcast, one of their shows last week. They were honoring Brett. I believe I talked to Garrett. Garrett was asking me a few things yesterday, or Thursday or Friday, and Dave was also going to talk about Brett as well. So I am very glad to see Brett getting, the recognition that he deserved, because he was very, very good at what he did, and he made, and he was an even better person, which in the wrestling business, as we know, is not the easiest thing to come across.
You said it about the wrestling world. We become family when we do these things.
Yep.
Wrestling Renaissance festivals, and so when one of us kind of goes down, it does affect everybody.
Yeah,
it's something we all feel, because at the end of the day, like, these are they're human beings, and we
Yeah.
get reminded very
'cause
often.
even
I'm just
though
so
we
glad that you guys all have these memories and that
right.
you get to revisit them.
Yeah, definitely. And like, again, I didn't know Brett super well, but he is the person that I saw.
But he was part of your life.
But I saw him on a monthly basis sometimes, and when they were running, when PWX was running their Pure shows as well, which was originally for their up and coming talent. So they were running two shows a month, and so I saw Brett. There was we went for 4 years, but there was a chunk of time in a 4-year period where Nikki and I did not miss a show, and so Brett was at those shows, and so that was
you ate his cooking, you ate his baking.
I did, and we said
as a fellow baker, that is like, that's what brings you joy. You don't do that. I rarely, that people joke, it's like they used to joke with me, is like, how do you guys not get fat on her baking? Is that I don't want to eat it, I want to sell it. Like I was giving it I wanted to give it to friends and neighbors. So I mean, he was part of your life, and he was very, I think that the universal grief will help everyone, because I think when you guys do have a time to get together and have some memorials, that it'll be really special. And
I even saw like the owner of PWX, and it took him about a day or so, but he finally posted about him as well. And
that's
so
rough.
There's
nothing easy about it. And
and there's a lot of people obviously who are much closer, and I can just tell how much I know how much it affected me as somebody who didn't know him super well. And I can only imagine the grief of the people who do know him really well, and how hard this has got to be for them. And so, but yes, I wish I had gotten to know him better. And we always thought we had the time, and that's definitely obviously how life moves. Yes, he did have very good pipes, and he
sure did. Oh my gosh, seriously.
And so that's why when he would do the main, we would do it with him, and it would last a really long time, and that became his famous call. And yes, he was a legendary voice of the indie scene. And thank you, Fernando, and thank you and for allowing me. I know that obviously there are not a lot of people in the chat who are watching who are familiar with Brett, but I did want to talk about him just because it was a really it is still shocking, completely, as we said, completely unexpected. And definitely wanted to talk about it. And again, and also with Darren as well. I was not familiar with him, but that's an awful tragedy on its own. And I'm glad they have found a positive way to move forward and to continue operating and still continuing to honor him with the blessing of his family. And it sounds like the family really pushed that forward and wanted that to happen. So
I get that.
So just definitely keep your thoughts on the Carolina indie scene, because it's been a rough week and a half for sure. And now, sorry to have to follow that with more not fun stuff, but while we're on the not fun stuff, we want to get to it. So as we mentioned last week on the show, we had mentioned that there was a little bit of an update in Janel Grant's lawsuit as far as her not being able to, she didn't meet the proof of discovery or something. Apologies for not remembering off the top of my head. So we had that little update, and we knew that she was going to speak in Connecticut on Thursday to talk about NDAs. It was a big group of things that they were going to talk about, and we weren't sure if we were going to get footage of it. We did, but I will back up for 1 second before we get to that, because we did have yet another update in her lawsuit. There was a little bit of confusion because of the way it reads, and especially if you are an average person who does not speak legalese, or it is kind of confusing, because I was a little confused myself. And so, but we did have clarification, and so there will be a hearing before the judge in June to they're going to, as Brandon Thurston puts it, they're going to argue whether arbitration should be compelled and whether Janel Grant takes discovery, which will by that time be argued on paper. And so they are not actually going to arbitration yet. We will have a hearing to find out if they will go to arbitration. So that's where the confusion came from. Some people thought that they were going to arbitration automatically, and that's not what's happening yet.
And the previous ruling was just simply that she hadn't proven enough to compel discovery, and thus they needed to. But the judge did give them the opportunity, I believe, by the beginning of May sometime, to refile their brief.
So it's not. It wasn't like
it's not a totally. It's not great for her, but it wasn't a totally lost cause because it wasn't an absolute. You aren't going to discovery. It's a refile your brief, and because which tells me that judge isn't. I mean, that's a good thing because that judge isn't saying yes, arbitrate. They're saying, I'm not saying you can go to discovery, but there's enough here that. Get a little bit more and give it back to me and let me reconsider whether we need to compel discovery. And then I would imagine that the following one is the actual one to see, from the sounds of what you're saying, will be the one that they rule on whether they are going to arbitrate or go to actual court, which is what compelling discovery means. That's where, and if we're lucky, that will happen. And they won't, I mean, we have no idea. And if she wants to settle and she's comfortable with that, then she can take that and walk away, and that's fine. I have no, but if they do decide to go that route, that's where the company needs to get real scared because now it's out for public judgment.
Yeah, and I do want to make this, because actually, if you, I was on State of Wrestling on Thursday night, and the episode came out on Friday, and we were talking about this, and I made this point then. The first date is April 1st. That's the deadline for the plaintiff's opposition to the motion to compel arbitration and any renewal of the plaintiff's motion for leave to take discovery relating to the motions to compel arbitration. May 13th, that's the deadline for the defendant's optional replies in support of their motion to compel arbitration and defendant's oppositions. So those 2 dates. But the reason April 1st is important, that is just 17 days before WrestleMania. Night 1.
Wow.
So, it is obviously something we would be talking about anyway, but that's
very interesting. That's going to be right there.
WrestleMania, and also this year, corporate officer number 3 in Janel Grant's lawsuit, who is Stephanie McMahon, will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame just right around this same time. So April is going to be really interesting. To say the least. So, and then, so then June is where, so the 3 important dates are April the 1st, May the 13th, and then it says the parties agree to and respectively propose a date in June for oral argument on the defendant's motions to compel arbitration. So we don't have an exact date for that yet. So there are 3 important dates coming up. But yes, just to have that in the back of your mind, WrestleMania will be happening just 17 days after the next court thing. So that will be, it's a good thing that they don't, they just suddenly decided, they decided on the same night that Brock Lesnar returned, they decided to get rid of post-show media scrums. And so yeah.
You know what? That's on brand though. And
yeah,
the legal case the way it is, they probably shouldn't have anybody saying anything anyway, because
if they're not reading the lawsuit, then
I mean, obviously there's the one person who has not read it yet that is the head of the company.
Maybe now.
Maybe by now.
So yeah. That's going to be the longest 2 weeks for Stephanie McMahon in April.
Yeah. Well, they want to bring it to arbitration because they're using a lot of these. I mean, the stuff we're going to talk about, but for really real, they just don't want their dirty laundry aired in. Jim made a great point yesterday. I think it's so funny because he was like, "This was the line for Vince. Or for Linda, like." All those years of all that, he was like, I mean, he was pretty much hammering on people that were bad mouthing Janelle, and he should be, because get out of here with that.
Oh, I absolutely refuse to read. I don't read comments about her anyway, because yes, there are real people, but they have also they've used
Well,
bots
she made her
well.
point.
They use bots as well. They have that's just a tactic that they have always used. And they absolutely every time that anything comes out related to Janel Grant, the bots pick up and they specifically go after people like BJ.
Oh, and
so
you.
I mean, I have had my fair share as well, but
obviously,
I mean, there
I
are
don't
real
look at
people
BJ's comments much unless I feel like laughing out loud because I know that the dum-dums that he's just listen. I'm sorry that truth is so hard, folks, but you're gonna have to just make peace.
Yeah, and so I know that there are people who legitimately think the things that they think about her. But I know that a good chunk of those are also bots as well. So I just make it a habit of not reading the comments because it's
almost every major corporation, no matter what the circumstances are right now, is doing that sort of thing. Kind of, if you're not doing that, you're behind your competition. Because if you're a major corporation where I'm talking like B's and M's of dollars where are behind your ledger, those companies are using cyber sabotage and warfare and the whole thing because they have to, because their competition is, and it's like I felt like even when they were accusing Tony of doing it, I'm like, projection much?
Right. Always. There's always every accusation is almost every accusation
is now
is an admission.
Admission. That's it. Exactly. And I mean, it's really on full display these days. So
right. And so on Thursday, she did speak at an event in Connecticut, along with several other people. She spoke for about 16 minutes. I did watch the video. It was at times it was hard to watch. There was something, actually, before we get too much further, I do want to go ahead and just give you a trigger warning because of the things that we are going to talk about. I mean, we're not going to get too graphic, but obviously this information could be triggering. We will be talking about abuse, sexual abuse, and suicide. So if this is a conversation that you are not prepared to listen to, please do what you need to take care of yourself. I don't know how long this conversation will last. I would say probably 15 to 20 minutes, maybe even longer. If you need to leave and come back, please do. If you are listening to a replay, need to jump ahead, please do. Just do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself because this is not an easy discussion. And we don't want to do anything that would trigger you because even though it's not obviously something that I have dealt with, I was not prepared for something that she talked about, and it caught me off guard. And so when I sent the link to a couple of people who were asking for it, I made sure to just let them know, hey, about 3 minutes in, there's something that she talks about that's kind of hard. And so just so that you're aware. And so we just want to, extend that courtesy to our listeners as well, because we, again, just want to give you the option to, if you need to turn it off for a little bit, we completely understand. But again, the video was really hard to listen to. I will say there's also been some really great coverage. I know that sometimes coverage is lacking on Janel Grant and her lawsuit, but there was some really great coverage. And Max Everett, who is my friend and colleague at Wrestling Inc. and has been covering this as long as I have. When I was covering it for Diggly DDT, he's been covering it for Wrestling Inc. And so he transcribed a lot of it. And so I'm going to just pull quotes from his article because they are right here. But yeah, so she did speak. These were her, other than, as she said, she has spoken to the Okay. I'm very glad that Kathy is not in the room at the moment. Thank you for letting us know. I'm glad that she is not in here. If you have, especially if you have younger people, they probably don't need to hear this conversation. But Janel has, other than speaking to the FBI about it, she has never spoken publicly about her experience. I mean, of course, with her lawyers, but this is the first public comment that we have heard from Janel Grant at all. And so she she spoke here and she said, this is not an easy comment to read, but so she started off by saying that she really shouldn't be here. By a series of miracles that I can't account for, I'm alive today. On June 15th of 2022, my life was rewritten into someone else's storyline, and I was globally outed by in the Wall Street Journal. I got a call that I didn't expect on the day of a very big meeting of a new job I had, saying that any moment the Wall Street Journal would be publishing a story about me, Vince McMahon, and a non-disclosure agreement. I was told if anybody asks me to make a comment or about this, I can't make a comment. I can't acknowledge it. I can't say I'm not okay. And if anybody approaches me, I can't acknowledge years of my life to people who saw me live it. And then she said that she blacked out after that call, and she felt like somebody set fire to my home intentionally with me still inside of it. I ended up in a closet with a belt and a stool placed under a metal rod, and thank God somebody saw me and stopped it. But that is the life wreck and mental health impact of this particular NDA. So before we go any further, I want to make this extremely clear. This is how hard this has been on her mentally, and we've talked about that on the show multiple times. But to hear her, and we are familiar with this, but to hear her say it was very hard. I was not expecting to hear it, and it made me tear up. And to see her face as she's saying these words was very, very hard to hear. And so I can only imagine how hard it was for her. There was a woman who's standing behind her the whole time, and she was crying as Janel was talking about this. So this was just 3 minutes into what she had to say. But I'm glad that she shared her truth, because this has been so difficult for her. And we've talked about her bravery before, and I can't say enough about how brave she is. But then she talks about some other things about the unfair power balance to NDAs, like the one that she has between her and Vince McMahon. She said, when patterns can't be seen, they can't be stopped. When they can't be stopped, harm spreads. When an NDA is used to conceal behavior, it simply relocates the harm to the next employee, the next office, the next victim. No one should be required to trade silence for accountability. And then she said the NDA was a tool that Vince could use to justify anything while I remained in a system of exploitation, and actually in a position for anyone to exploit me. And then she goes on, she explained very quickly in a very brief situation about, what happened, because she had to condense, years of what happened to her down very quickly. But she does say that the company reached out to her in 2022 to make a joint statement that her and McMahon shared a consensual relationship, suggesting more money could be on the table for her agreement. She refused, only to find out later that a company spokesperson made a statement for her in a follow-up. And she says, leaving out one half of an experiencing party in a decision like that is not consent. She also said that she spent 6 figures to participate in the company's private investigation. And after she had been told of her participation, she would not be considered in breach of her NDA. She said that she was contacted during that time regarding the federal investigation, and upon sending evidence to be reviewed, was informed that it was now a covert investigation into human trafficking and criminal conduct by Vince McMahon and WWE. She said, if you want to know why my federal civil lawsuit is not an employment law case, that is because the feds requested I say nothing, that this be covert, that they could do the work that they needed to investigate human trafficking and criminal misconduct. However, she said that while she was preparing to participate, the company, being WWE, closed their investigation without speaking to her, which we did know. She said that 3 years and 5 law firms later, they have yet to surmise where and when Janel Grant breached the NDA to this point. She was left feeling punished for cooperating with federal investigators. In March 2023, she said the SEC granted her whistleblower status, and the FBI started to send her communications indicating that she had been identified as a potential victim, letters that she says she can continue to receive for 2.5 years. She said that when she decided to file her lawsuit in January 2024, it was at the last conceivable second, because she knew what it would entail with everything that would come along with it by naming WWE and Vince McMahon. But she felt like she'd been dragged into the federal investigations by the NDA. Janel says, all the things that have happened to me have made me feel so small and isolated. I didn't start that. It's like it found me. And then she said, first, during the federal investigation, a love letter was reportedly found on a corporate laptop and published in the New York Post. This was a public humiliation and intimidation of a person who gets letters from the FBI that say victim. And it's also witness intimidation, discouraging others from speaking out, speaking to, or even associating with me for fear of their own well-being and their families. She also talked about where they did the storyline, which we talked about on this show, about Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. And they included the Judgment Day as well, where they were basically playing out things from the lawsuit. And Janel says about that, does it look like we work in a safe environment? When the destination point, if you're hurt, is weaponized use of your experience on live TV every Monday night for months by their actions and their reactions, it says a lot more about current leadership than it does me. She also repeatedly said in her address that there were still employees living and working in fear in a headquarters in Connecticut. Obviously, she's alluding to WWE's headquarters. And then she said directly to TKO, because she was talking about how when she found out that she was very surprised when she found out that they were merging. And she said to the board of TKO, if you didn't know this part of your origin story, now you know. I hope you will have conversations with us. I hope you will have conversations amongst yourselves, and I hope you don't rely on old instincts with new insight. Leadership means stepping into the unknown, listening and discussing things even when they're hard. Be willing to take the first steps. And so that is, again, that was about 16 minutes of a speech where we heard from Janel Grant for the first time. And
she kind of confirmed our suspicions, is what I would say from that, is that without saying, because she was very careful with her words, obviously, but without directly saying what we've suspected the whole time, she basically, I mean, not basically, she came out and said, yes, I have been threatened. Yes, I can't. She went outside 10 times last year.
Yes.
Now, I know that some people take going outside for granted, but in general, that is not healthy or okay. And that's when especially when you're in a mental health crisis, which she is most certainly in at this point. And everyone needs to remember a few things. As this entire thing started, she was grieving the loss of both her parents.
Right.
So she was very vulnerable. And I just, real quick, before we go forward, I want to make a quick point about NDAs, because it's a super important point. Yes. And that is that an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, was initially the spirit of a non-disclosure agreement is really simple. And I've owned businesses. So I own a pizzeria. I have all homemade recipes at my pizzeria. The point of me having a non-disclosure agreement with my employees is so that one of my employees doesn't either A, run to my direct competition, or B, go across the street and open up a shop with my recipes that I own. That's supposed to be the reason businesses have non-disclosure agreements. And I boiled that down to a really simple example on a larger scale, because we're dealing with who built the IP that we're sitting on right now and having this conversation on, and who owns that and all of that. But that's what the spirit of a non-disclosure agreement was supposed to be. I've signed them. I've delivered them. I've even drafted a couple in my day. However, when they are being strictly, explicitly used to protect people in power, in a day and age where we're seeing what we're seeing, not just in Janel's life, but everywhere in power, this legislation that and the strength it took Janel, because this NDA thing, even if it passes in Connecticut, who's going to enforce it, and what's going to go on, and how long is it going to take? And now it takes forever. It might help her, but more than likely, even though her case will take forever, if this gets enacted, it won't ultimately help her. It will help all the people that come after her. So not just that she's showing strength in that, what she's talking about, her direct, this had nothing to do with her civil case. It had everything to do with taking away a contract that in good spirit was supposed to be something to keep the market free of collusion and antitrust and everything that is now being used by powerful people to shut up their victims.
Right. And she has maintained in her lawsuit that, you know, she signed it under duress, and she details about what happened, how that whole
situation,
how that
everything
whole situation, right, yeah, how the whole situation came about, the conversation she had with Vince McMahon, who, according to her, she says is the one who told her to get the NDA. He told her who to go to get this NDA. Like, she was doing she says she was doing all of this at the direction of Vince McMahon.
There's one that wasn't even signed by the board. Like, I mean, there was one that was out there that fundamentally would be moot anyway, because if I remember correctly, it was evidence that it wasn't even signed by everybody, that it would have needed to be signed by.
Yeah, and then, of course, and then as we've known, even prior to the stuff coming out about before Janel's lawsuit, there are multiple people who have signed NDAs, who have talked about it, who have, well, not talked about it because they can't, but we do know that he spent, I believe it was the combined,
I guarantee you, every single talent,
combined $21 million in law things that he was paying to people who had signed NDAs. And part of Janel Grant's case, he initially was paying his portion of the NDA, and then he stopped, which
because he said that when she talked, he said that was a breach of contract, which, if that contract, the problem is that you're starting from a bad premise to begin with, because you mooted the contract when you used it to traffic her, and I mean, allegedly, but because unlike Paul Levesque, Sam and I have read the lawsuit all the way through, every gross, disgusting piece of crap detail in there. And I don't care what you were signing. Nothing in there was legal. You cannot sign your rights away. This is something they teach you in contract law, like number 1. You can't sign your rights away. Enforcement is a problem, but under fundamental law, I can't sign a contract and then somebody goes and grabs my ass at work. They just broke the law.
Right.
That contract is moot.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm using overly simplified examples, but I mean, in my case, like, I'm someone who actually has the power to bind an insurance contract for a human.
Right.
So, I mean, in multiple forms. So, and there's lots of rules.
There are.
If I say the wrong thing to a client, the person that I signed them up for, that company has to honor what I said. That's how sensitive that is. So that's how much burden there is. And I'm just some schmuck who's able to sell insurance. We're talking about way higher levels of contracts here. Right. And I guarantee you every single person that's under contract in TKO has signed a non-disclosure agreement. On some level.
It seems very likely. And so that's another question, is if the judge in Janel's case, not just the overall in Connecticut with the NDA, but in Janel's case specifically, if they determine that the NDA does not stand up in court, that also, so there's also, you know, a domino effect of what it could potentially mean for others who have signed NDAs. We know that Rita Chatterton, who was a referee who accused Vince McMahon of raping her. We know that that's been a case that's been around for a really long time, and we know, you know, there's her case. There's lots of other.
There's so many labor.
That's just, and again, we've talked about this multiple times. These are just the ones that we know of. Correct. This man has been operating and doing things for a very long time, and there's things that are out, as we talked about Thursday on the State of the News. There are lots of things that are out there from people who have spoken. You can go look up interviews. There are interviews with Roddy Piper where he talks about some things that happened to him. There are other wrestlers who have openly spoken about things. And obviously, in addition to this, there's also the Ring Boys lawsuit, which has, for 7 of the 8 men involved, they have been allowed to move into discovery. And we've talked about it then when this ruling came out, but I also want to make this clear once again. So right now, the McMahon, TKO, and WWE are trying to force it where the survivors are named. They know who these people are because legally they have to know. They are trying to get this made public information because they know what's going to happen if these survivors are publicly outed. And that's what they're trying to do right now is get them.
Sadly, I mean, this is a problem because that's fundamentally illegal.
Right.
However, when we look at the internet right now, we can see that the names of victims are not being protected at the highest levels. And so if the president isn't doing it, and that's, I mean, this is why it's so important for us to participate at any level, and why I laud Janel's strength a great deal is because she, even despite what's happening to her, is doing something participatory to end a tool that is used by classes of powerful people to do abuses to their employees and get away with it.
Yeah.
And this is not a WWE unique. While we know that Vince has got a long history of being not cool with this stuff, this is not a unique, clearly, to WWE thing, because all you have to do is look around. You can't get away from it right now. So for her to be out, and again, it made me, as a disabled human, getting outside is one of the number one top things that helps me get through my day every day.
Sure.
I almost burst into tears when she said that she had only been outside 10 times last year.
Know.
That's less than once a month, Sam.
I know. I know.
Just to go outside and take a breath while you're dealing with. I desperately, desperately hope that the bend of justice curves her way on this one, so that, because this isn't just about, I mean, it's very much about Janel, and it always has to stay about Janel.
Yes.
But the bigger issue that what Janel represents today at this very exact moment, while you and I are two women talking, what she represents and what is going on in the world and the people that are involved in this kind of behavior at the top level.
Right.
I mean, that needs to end, not just for Janel, but for anybody in Janel's situation. And I just bless her heart, I hope against hope that there's like some justice left in these judges, and they get a day in court, and this dude finally gets it. Because I mean, the only other way out, and she made a great point when she talked about TKO. If you don't know your backstory, they know. Yeah. Because you're talking to a bunch of people that were named in those files. So they knew.
And a lot of them are still there, which is, that, I mean.
Wow. I mean, you can't escape it still there. That. You can say what you want to, but just go look them up. They're in the files too.
Yes.
So you can't tell me that they don't know or care about what Vince McMahon is doing, because they were on that island doing similar shit.
Right.
So.
And Corey is right. Janel really looked haunted, but she pushed through, and her bravery cannot be commended enough. I can't imagine the strength that she had to have we've talked about this before. Like, I can't imagine the strength she had to have to admit that this is what happened to her.
Right.
Then have the strength to talk to the FBI about it. Then she had to talk to her own lawyers about this situation. So she's having to relive this stuff. Then she's had to see the things they've been doing. Because I have always wondered, like way back when we were talking about that particular episode of Raw, where they were very much, they were using Liv basically as Janel, and Dominic was showing her Liv's new photos,
because we weren't even Janelle, we were angry AF about somebody.
So I've always and I had always wondered if she knew about it, and she confirmed that yes, she did know about it. Whether she watched it herself, or if her counsel told her, or somebody else told her, she obviously is aware of what happened.
Her words were very, very specific and
yes,
very,
I'm
very
glad that she called them
me
out
too.
for that.
Me too. Because
it's one thing for us to call it out, but it is a very different thing for the person in question to also call it out.
And she called it out properly because she said, "Is that freedom? Is that like
right.
okay?" I mean,
she circled it back to the workplace,
right.
And we even obviously we didn't when we recorded the state of wrestling on Thursday evening. We were unaware of her. We knew she was.
Right.
I had talked about her speaking that day. At the time, we did not know what was said, but we even like one of the things that I brought up was like a few months ago. Becky Lynch talked about a situation where a prominent wrestler was texting her, and she was talking about how she had been warned about said person. I don't know if they confirmed it was a wrestler, somebody on basically in the main roster, somebody within WWE, and people were questioning like, why is she not naming them? And we talked about it at the time. If Becky Lynch is one of the biggest women in wrestling, and one of, as she's filming some stuff outside of WWE, if she does not feel comfortable enough to say that person's name, most likely she's probably fearing retaliation. And so that shows you there is still most likely some level of fear to name names. And so she was signaling that, hey, this has happened to me, and this is all I can say about it. But that is most likely why she didn't when we talked about it then, because there were prominent people in the wrestling space like, well, why isn't she naming names? Have you not learned anything from Janel's case? Look at why would she name names?
Of course not.
She clearly fears that something could happen to her if she named who that person is. And so I just wanted to point that out too. But yes, definitely justice for her. Brad says she's so freaking brave, and I hope she has all the people around her who tell her that all the time. Me too, Brad. She is a survivor. Justice for Janel Grant all the way. Yeah, Fernando, a lot of people really would have thrown in the towel already. It's I can't imagine. And Nikki said she's helping future women and men as well.
Anyone who's being abused by a powerful person, this is like, we've seen the lengths these jerks go to and how depraved they can really get. I mean, you can't get away from it right now. Even if you're passing by the internet and you have a fundamental understanding of reading, you just can't look away at this point. There's a reckoning point here, and unfortunately for her circumstances, but also, I mean, to her credit, Janel is kind of a standard bearer for a circumstance that's happening a lot, and it's becoming more apparent how we need the courts to treat this circumstance because of what people are getting away with all across the world in positions of power.
Right.
This is
definitely.
We talk about how much the wrestling life thing. I mean, God, this couldn't be more wrestling reflecting life and life reflecting wrestling than anything I've seen.
Yeah,
right
you can
now.
look around and it's everywhere. And we talked about, that's something we've always talked about, that like it's not just in, Hollywood or WWE. It's happening at, it could be happening at your local coffee shop.
Yep.
It could be happening where you get your haircut. It could be happening
school,
it could be happening in all of these places, which is part of the reason we interviewed Dr. Bridget Carr, because she is a human trafficking expert, and she does talk about the information she does talk about the Janel lawsuit a bit. Great, because she doesn't have a lot of information, or she didn't at the time, but she also just explained the difference between human trafficking and sex trafficking. It's not all human trafficking is sex trafficking, but all sex trafficking is human trafficking, which was the point that she made. And she talks about that and the power imbalances and things like that. So that was why we really wanted to do that.
It's not an overnight process. It's not like a one-day process. It's a very concerted, targeted process by these people are the definition of predators. They prey on people. That is what they are doing.
And then, and Michael has a question, and I'll get to that in a second. But I do want to point out, so Friday night, during SmackDown, which I have to cover because it's my job, or part of my job, they aired an ad promoting Brock Lesnar being on Raw this upcoming Monday in Georgia.
Of course they did.
Because it's WrestleMania season, it's Elimination Chamber season. There are rumors that he is going to take somebody's spot in the Elimination Chamber. Yeah. Who knows how accurate that is. We knew he was going to be at WrestleMania at some point. He's long been rumored that he was going to face Braun Breaker. I don't know how accurate that was, and obviously Braun Breaker ended up having to have surgery a couple of weeks ago for a hernia. I don't believe he will be cleared in time for WrestleMania, so I don't know what the plans are. But regardless, he's going to be on TV. They showed it on TV. They posted it on social media. They posted it on social media the same day the Janel Grant's comments came out.
Of course they did.
Because this is what they do. And this is what they do. And I just, they're
treating it like counter programming. That's literally what they're treating Janel like. That's so messed up. Like, we have to counter program being predators.
And and on top of this, so Monday's episode is supposed to be like they were promoting it as because they're in Georgia. It was supposed to be basically a tribute show to AJ Styles. And I guess AJ is going to say goodbye one final time or whatever crap. So that's what they've been promoting. But suddenly on Friday, perhaps Brock was already scheduled to be on this Raw anyway, but they did not promote it until Friday evening during SmackDown.
All of a sudden they feel compelled to be like, we're standing behind our sex predator guy.
Right. And again, we will be clear.
Good for you.
Brock Lesnar has not been charged with anything. However, he is named in her lawsuit 42 times, I believe. And times. He had the intent to follow through on 3 separate occasions. And so while he is not currently being charged with anything, he is still in a lawsuit that is being litigated. Nothing has been decided. And so it was only WWE and TKO decided, as I believe it was Nick Khan's words, it was time to bring you home. And so that is why, that is the only reason Brock Lesnar is on television, is because they wanted him to. They kept him off TV and paid him to sit at home when this lawsuit first came out. And so again, it is more of an appearance thing. They want for people who are not as online as us, who don't listen to podcasts, who don't read about what's going, maybe heard that there was something involving Brock Lesnar. Maybe they didn't hear anything at all. Maybe they don't know anything.
They don't care
to
at
them,
all.
it is a perspective type thing. And so they were making people perceive, oh, that woman was lying, when nothing has been decided. And again, Brock Lesnar has not currently been charged with anything, but he is named in that lawsuit 44 times for a reason. So it's more gross, disgusting tactics. It rightfully, from the Wrestling Observer Awards, one most disgusting.
They may as well just name that the WWE
Award,
Worst Tactic of the Year award,
right?
Because they win it every freaking year since the Observer's been digital.
Yeah, I do want to. Michael asked the question, and I do not know the answer to this. Okay. Michael asked, "Are NDAs a prerequisite for employment with WWE?"
That I would not know.
I do not know.
Yes. The answer to that would be yes, because these days, if you're going to work for any major corporation, you're almost certainly signing an NDA.
Yeah,
I mean, even my agency that we work with, we're 1099, but we still have to sign them for certain things because of reasons. But I mean, it's a tool that's used fundamentally, again, like I said before, fundamentally, it's a good thing. But also they do need to, it goes further than even just abuse at work. It goes all the way to the fact that I'm trained to work with little kids. I sign an NDA with my one company. Well, I lose that job. I can't work with little kids within a 70-mile radius. I can't you know what I mean? I can't do anything that's similar to that. I can't. So well, what else am I trained in?
Right.
I'm going to have to drive at least over an hour to get to anything. And I can't do anything that's remotely similar to the jobs. And I mean, that's just a small scale again, but that's sort of what that's about. And they really came about for software engineers because it was Google and Microsoft and Apple and all these places were fighting each other for engineers and stealing and poaching each other's stuff. And it was well, no, you got to sign this NDA that says that you won't work for another tech company for 7 years within 700 miles.
That's more of a non-compete than an NDA, though.
It is. But the NDA portion comes in where you can't take your Google knowledge to Microsoft and tell them what you did at Google. That's the NDA portion of the program.
Right.
Because that would be illegal.
Yeah, and Brad says it wouldn't surprise me if WWE works the NDAs into the contracts, the people that sign them that way, even if they don't read the contract, it's there to cover their
asses. I
assume there would be some level of an NDA. Obviously,
lots of people don't read the contract, sadly.
And obviously, there would probably be more specific NDAs when there are certain situations like there. From just you can see from the things that Vince McMahon has had multiple people sign NDAs for.
Well, in his case, he's just using them illegally because he's using them to silence the victims of his fucking violence and horrible behavior. That's, I mean, I don't think that you can call it much else. I mean, allegedly, but whatever.
Yeah. So it's just a very gross thing. And again, I can't say enough about Janel Grant's strength and bravery to say the things that she said and to have to endure the things that she's enduring. I can't imagine I'm sure after she did that on Thursday, I'm sure that was a really rough thing for her.
So you want to go to Connecticut with a freaking squad and just take a walk with the poor girl. Be come at me, bro. I will suplex you into next year.
Brad said he thinks that the Speak Out Act passed back in 2022 or 2023 makes NDAs signed before an assault unenforceable. I believe that is correct. I can't remember the details of it, but I believe that you are correct about that. But
which is, I think, why Connecticut is probably at this point able to go ahead with the kind of legislation that they're discussing passing. And because change is incremental and always has been, it's going to take one or two states along the way passing those laws to start that domino effect of more states going, oh, hey, we're going to have that too because we're progressing here. And it actually stymies growth when you think about it, because you're literally saying that a good tech, like a plumber, can't go to work for any other plumbing companies. Well, you've taken a plumber out of the market, which you need because you're short on plumbers. And you're making it so it's competition is good. You guys love the throw around competition. Ooh, we love competition, except when it's actual competition. So you love to say you love competition, but you don't actually love competition because everything that you guys have out there is anti-competitive, including stuff like this, which whether you're using it to terrorize your employees or just stifle their ability to do their job in their field.
Right. And Janelle was very clear when she was talking about that. She was there are people that I still care about who work for that company who I know are afraid to say anything.
And of course they are, because look at what she's been through. And then when she says exactly what she said this week, and you go, I'm even more scared.
Right.
Because
I'm scared for her.
It's exactly as horrible as you would think it is.
Yeah. So, but so I do, of course, we will keep you updated with anything else that comes out as this case. I don't know if anything will come out between now and April the 1st, but again, I want to remind you,
a whole date for that.
17 days before WrestleMania and about 16 days if they're doing the Hall of Fame induction ceremony on the Friday night before.
Nothing
16 days
should be allowed to be announced.
Just 16 days later, corporate officer number 3. Stephanie McMahon is scheduled to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
We need to get that induct China hashtag up more during that time frame. Because that would be a huge, there's so many reasons.
There are, yes. Because I was going to bring up Javon, but you know what? While we're talking about WWE, we can talk about it. So Curry Head said, please tell me, Sam, that they are not going to replace Javon Evans with Brock. And that absolutely crossed my mind mainly because of Brock Lesnar and Kofi Kingston. So back when just their whole thing that they did, Brock Lesnar ended Kofi Kingston's reign very quickly. And so when I heard that rumor too, that there's a possibility that he will be replacing someone in the Elimination Chamber, my fear was also Javon Evans.
Now, is Javon Evans a big deal right now? Because
he he is. So he qualified last Monday. He qualified. He beat. He was in a three because all of these matches have been 3-way matches, and he defeated Gunther and Dominic Mysterio to qualify in a match that is older than he is. Javon, as I've talked about Javon lots. Javon, I saw he wrestled in PWX and he wrestled for Pure. For both, for PWX and Pure. He wrestled in PWX when he was 15 years old. Kid is a prodigy. I knew then, like he was, and Jackson Drake, who has been involved. I believe he was Evolve champion, but he's been brought up to NXT. Jackson Drake was his tag team partner at the time, and they wrestled in PWX a bit, but also they were in DPW together some before Javon was. Well, at the time, Jay Malachi was his name on the Indies.
Okay.
So Jackson was very young as well. Jackson,
pretty bad when I recognize someone by their indie name better than I do.
So Jay Malachi, and he was just tearing up, and he's like a literal.
So are the fans connecting with him?
Oh, he's hugely over. They brought him up.
So NXT, of course WWE is going to bury him. Then.
Well, just wait. So we bring him up. So he's in NXT. He has been in 12 title matches. He lost them all, but he's in enough matches where they think that, hey, this guy could potentially win a title. That was happened in NXT. He competed for several titles. He competed, and when they were doing the Last Time Is Now tournament to determine who John Cena's final opponent was going to be, he wrestled Gunther and actually did a lot with Gunther. I was afraid it was going to be a squash match. It was not. And so Gunther obviously defeated Javon, so he could go on to face John Cena. So even though Javon got the pin on Dominic Mysterio, he did get his lick back on Gunther last week as well. He also wrestled on the same show as John Cena's final match. He and Leon Slater wrestled AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, who were tag team champions at the time. They had a 6-minute tag team match. Wow. Before John Cena's final match. So clearly they think highly-ish of him. They're doing some other things. So then there was also comments from, I believe, was it Mark Henry that made the comment that he should be champion in 15 years? I believe somebody was making the argument that he shouldn't be champion too soon. They should make him, build him up. Because the man is 21 years old. Yeah, that was a big thing. So wait, 15 years. Or maybe it was Booker T. One of them. I can't remember now off the top of my head.
Either one.
Okay, so it was Mark Henry. That's what I thought. Because I was like, Booker T says some really dumb stuff, but Mark Henry also says some questionable things.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yes, it was Mark Henry. Wait 15 years. And people were like, what are you talking about? Javon he's not only is he the future, he is the now. Well, then, sometime last weekend, I believe the comments came out Monday. Kevin Nash was on his podcast talking about Javon. And I don't have the exact quote. Maybe I should get it because he has he tried to apologize for it. He tried to apologize for it and had to backtrack. Then he had to apologize for the apology, which was not really an apology, and he deleted that, and it's been a whole thing. And also, I want to remind you, so I stopped following Kevin Nash when he defended Vince McMahon and said that Janel Grant only wants money. So that
trash.
I unfollowed him immediately after that. So that's just to remind you.
Kevin Nash that I don't follow Nash, and I'm actually going to have to dig this off.
He is a grifter. And yeah, he's a grifter and he wants a WWE paycheck. So, okay. So here is the quote. Kevin Nash said, about Javon Evans. He's an incredible athlete. He's a little bit too effing Mr. Bojangles for me. I wish he was a little more urban. I understand it's Netflix. I understand there's a big effing world out there besides the one that effing 66-year-old Detroit boy Kevin Nash wants, but I just want him to have a little bit of an edge. And then he's talking about he wants his punches. He's wanting his punches to connect. So but of course, also a reminder, he said this about a black man during Black History Month on top of that. Said this man.
Kevin Nash needs to keep urban. Detroit. I don't care if you're from here or not. You need to keep Detroit out your mouth if you're going to use it during your racist rants. Did he really say that?
There's clip. I saw the video. I watched it.
You say that crap in the interwebs in 2026.
He said it on his podcast.
Oh, for Pete's sake!
And it got clipped, and it went viral.
Course.
And
I guess as it should, which is maybe why he does it for the flash value, because that dude needs attention. He is desperate. He's old and needs attention. Saying crap like that. That's terrible.
So that night, Javon Evans won to compete in the Elimination Chamber. So I actually did love something.
Cool.
The loved hated. So love Javon getting this spot. And
I saw your love hated thing pop up and went, I wonder if she actually had loved this week.
I did, because I love Javon Evans. And that is somebody I've watched since he was 15 years old. I think he's incredible.
It's so frustrating though, because
glad that he's doing
WWE
well.
has such a bad habit of burying people that the fans like, or doing that thing where it's like, oh, you want this? We're going to take it away from you. And now, are they doing well right now? Because
Maria, you are correct. These comments are ugly, no matter if it's Black History Month. But Black History Month, I just think it's even more like what. Again, like with the Cody Raheem comments.
It shows you how stunningly lacking they are in self-awareness, really, is what it is.
Yes. And so, anyway, so in my love, I was trying to figure out how to reference Kevin Nash. So it did make reference to bitter wrestlers with podcasts. Because it's not just him. I mean, other people have made comments about Javon. I mean, Mark Henry. I mean, granted, his was not offensive. His was just kind of dumb. Like, why would you wait 15 years? But in general, people have made comments about Javon, and part of it is because of how young he is, because he is a black man. They say things. And so I did make a reference to it. Regardless. So then, Kevin Nash, this was Kevin Nash's apology.
Uh-oh.
His first apology.
This is gonna make it worse.
This is from Kevin Nash. I want to make that very clear, because I
can hear him backpedaling like so hard.
So he said, "How often have you heard the term Uncle Tom? Most likely it was used in a degrading way. If you've actually read the literature, Uncle Tom was whipped to death for helping free 2 female slaves. I apologize for the use of the term Mr. Bojangles. It was in poor taste and obviously offensive. I just see talent being pushed in a direction that I disagree with. He should have been the male version of Sol Ruca. More contemporary than urban. It's funny how I'm usually the only person who pays attention to the development of black talent." That was his apology.
Whoa, that's more racist.
Yeah. And everybody was like, bruh. Didn't have to add the last line. Didn't even need the first part of that. Just say, I was wrong. I thought the same thing, Curry. Sol Ruca is also black. Even though if you look at her, you might just think she's a white woman. Her father is black.
You used the word urban. You were so patently being just a racist fool, and then you came back and apologized with an even more racist statement,
right? And then he deleted it.
I mean, why are you bringing up the Uncle Tom thing at all?
I don't know.
What is wrong with you? Get people, God.
So the following day,
people need friends. They need sane friends who can tell them.
He has a co-host, like he has a moderator on his show.
Well, they're terrible. They're not.
So I don't know if they're just trying to get clicks or what. But so then the next day, Javon posted a picture of him after he won, and he used the NWO Wolfpack theme song in his Instagram post.
Well done, sir.
Which I thought was hilarious.
Well done.
Yes, and
very
then
nicely done.
they use Bojangles, which is a reference to a famous black dancer in the earliest 20th century. Yeah.
Well, also, see, now for me, I take that as a racist comment because it's like where you have the franchise chicken places is always related to the places where like poor people live, which is always urban, and all of those other like racist things that happen that people just, I mean, my brain just went like, my racist-o-meter just about blew up when you read both of those statements.
Yeah.
Listen, I've had my moments, and I do my, like, we're all institutionally like corrupted. We have our moments, but dude.
Yeah, so we deleted
that's attention. That's somebody that desperately, they're so desperate for attention that they're willing to say the most inane crap.
I don't know what he was thinking. And Brad and Kevin Nash was somebody I was a huge fan of back in when I was watching NWO, WCW. Like, I was a huge Kevin Nash fan. So for me to hear him say the things that he said, but I mean, the Janel thing was like, I was like, I'm out. So I was not really surprised, but yeah, Brad says Kevin Nash will say one thing that makes me yell about him being awesome, mostly when he calls out the crappy government, which, yes, fair. Then he decides to talk about wrestling and he slams his head into a wall. And that is fairly accurate.
Man. Just shut
Says Kevin Nash doesn't see color like his best friends. Oh no, he sees it because he's one of the only few people who cares about black talent, the development of black talent.
He clearly is the only one who did.
Maybe he sees more. Maybe he sees color more than Triple H, so he's concerned about it.
That's some serious white savior complex, right?
Yeah, there. I would agree. And that song is a certified banger, but it's hilarious.
That was funny. That's a good context to do that and just be like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, and then who would have thought that 2026 Sean Watman would be the most likable member of the former DX and NWO? That is accurate. That is so accurate.
We are living in the worst timeline ever, Brad.
Yes. So bringing that back to the question, I am concerned that Brock Lesnar is, if that rumor is true, who knows if it is WWE. So it seems very plausible.
That's terrible. I feel terrible for you guys.
I'm so concerned that Javon is who is going to be kicked out of the match in favor of Brock Lesnar. I am very concerned that that's where they're, we don't know for sure if this rumor is true, but I'm very, when I saw that rumor, I was like, please don't be Javon. Please don't be that whole reason they put Javon in the match to begin with. Javon deserves to be in that match because he has the talent. He's over. That match needs something fresh, and Javon is the person who can do that. He's over. People love him. Like, you should have seen some of the crowd reaction when he won. Also, that's probably that. You know, he pinned Dominic Mysterio, who is very obviously as a heel, he is very hated. And so that, yeah. Yes. He said, Sam, it's going to be Javon. It's going to piss me off.
I'm sorry.
I'm bracing myself for the worst because this company has showed me time and time again, and I think that you are right because that's immediately what I thought when I saw it was it's going to be Javon. And that's exactly why. Javon is going to get the Kofi treatment from Brock. Yes, let's not forget what Brock did to Kofi Kingston. Exactly.
I had forgotten about that, and then you brought it back to me, and I was like, what?
That's why.
Oh, that's right. He like squashed him in that one match. That's like 14-second match or something like that. I mean, I hate WWE so much sometimes.
Yes.
I'm going to admit
it. I have heard that too, that there is a rumor that Brock is going to face LA Knight at Mania. I have heard that as well. LA Knight is in the Elimination Chamber match too. Perhaps perhaps that's how they get to a Mania match. Perhaps he costs Knight the match somehow, gets in it, and then it turns into Knight versus. Maybe that's where they're going. But I just have a very big fear
That sucks, dude.
that it's going to be Javon. I hope this rumor is getting me worked up for no reason, but history has shown me that we are probably right.
Sadly, WWE does WWE things.
Yeah. They do not. They don't. It's just, it's awful. So yeah, we will see. So I have not had a chance to listen to it yet because Nikki wanted to listen to it with me. I do know that Keela and Salty Scott did address Kevin Nash's comments on the wrap. They also clipped it, so you can go to the Fight Game Media YouTube and you can click on the clip directly. I really can't wait to listen to it. Nikki wanted to listen to it too, and we just haven't had a chance to listen to it together, but we are definitely going to, because I absolutely want to hear what Keila Cash and Salty Scott have to say about that, because they're also big Javon fans on top of that. Fernando asked if Brock ended the title reign of Bobby Lashley. I'm trying to remember. That sounds right, but I don't know. I know he was involved, I want to say. I believe that is correct, but my brain, I could be wrong, so maybe the chat can help us remember, because I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a strong WWE history. My bucket for WWE is kind of pushed off and doing things other.
Yeah. So there's that. And then I guess let's go over to, so that was Raw. And then we'll go over to Dynamite, which was on Wednesday, obviously. And we had some interesting things happen. It was a good show. And then we had the promo from Hangman and MJF. That was a bit, both of their promos I thought were really good, but then there were parts of it that were not super clear, which MJF has broken down for us dumb people, which I did bookmark it so I could read it. So we have this segment and we're trying to, so obviously the match is happening. Hangman won at Grand Slam. He's getting a title match at Revolution. Of course, MJF was like, "You're a lucky shot. You've only beaten me twice because you're lucky. It's not going to happen again." Hangman wants to ensure that it's going to happen. So Hangman was trying. So they're talking about like we should have a stipulation. Should have the fans decide on it. And MJF was like, "No, it's going to be a normal wrestling match. That's it." And then Hangman was like, "Well, I will make a promise to you and all of these fans." And I said, "Don't you say, don't do the Cody thing. Please don't." Literally out loud to my TV. And what does this MFer do? Makes the Cody stip. And it's funny that everyone is calling it either the Cody stip or pulling a Cody.
Our entire Discord thread for this, because they all saw it coming in the Discord just as much as you did. Someone was like, "They're about to pull a Cody stip. Don't do it." Our entire Discord thread for the show was, I will say this, is that at this point, he may as well get a tattoo on his neck and sign his WWE contract. Unless I don't even know that I even need to explain what the Cody stip is. I think we all know what the Cody stip is without even having to explain it. In a world where Hangman Page cannot challenge for the AEW championship belt.
Stupid. I hate it. And so I was like, God, I was like, Hangman, what are we doing? Did we learn nothing? And as somebody said, I can't remember who it was. Somebody said, never go full Cody.
Exactly.
And he made a Cody stipulation. That's the dumbest thing you can do. I hate stupid baby faces. And the thing is, Hangman is a smart man, so it makes it even less sense.
I just hate it. I hate the whole concept. I hate this. The biggest thing that hurt Cody was that he could never go for that stupid belt. It was
right. Well, that is part of it, but then of course there's also
I know there was others.
The Cody stuff was also that Anthony Ogogo feud
Oh yeah, obviously there were
That
issues.
But this was so dumb. And
especially with Hangman
is not an EVP. Cody Rhodes was an EVP at the time.
Right.
Hangman is not. He is part of the elite. He's part of the D1, sort of other things. But he is not an EVP. Never has been. Which makes us even more. So he also said that he wants it to be a Texas death match, which I knew he was, when he said he was wants the match stipulation, I was like, oh, he's going to pick Texas death because he doesn't lose those. He never loses Texas death matches. Right. I don't believe he's lost. If memory serves, he has not once lost the Texas death match.
I think that we went through that.
That's his bread and butter. So not only does he would like that, MJF has a week to decide, because that's what MJF, he said, well, I'm not a hothead. Basically, I'm not a hothead like you. I'm not dumb. I'm going to take my time and think about what I want my stipulation to be. So obviously this brought up that segment was a little confusing here. So MJF, thankfully, is here to talk to the dumb fans. He said yesterday, we both pitch a stipulation. We both have to agree to the stipulation. Hangman's given his word. If we do, he will never challenge for the world title again. On Wednesday, we decide on our stipulation for the match. It's not complicated. You're just dumb.
Thanks, Max. We can always count on you to make us straighten us pores out.
Yeah, so that's what MJF said. So,
God, when he's good, he's so good.
So from what I gather, I believe that if I'm trying to think how I saw this. Like, somebody said that I guess there's a way around it where Hangman can where MJF can get him to not follow through, and then he goes back on his word, which obviously MJF uses to his advantage. I've also seen that maybe Hangman gets the heel turn that Cody never got. Maybe that's where we're going with this. Like, I don't think it's anything where I don't think Hangman's not going to WWE, you guys. Like, that's not where we're going.
I know.
I know some people saw that and were like, is his contract coming up? No. I don't think Hangman's going anywhere. I have no idea where they're going with this.
But if he gets a neck tattoo, Sam,
I hope that Hangman's wife stops him, unlike Cody's wife.
I'm saying, if he pushes this too far, I'm going to be very unhappy.
Yes. So someone in the comments, I think, made it before I finish. Let me see if I can find the comment. Okay. Crash says Hangman gave 2 Texas death, and if he loses, he never wrestles again. And now MJ will provide his own step. Oh wait, no, that wasn't it. I thought there was something else. But maybe I just misread it because I was trying to pay attention. So yeah, okay. Michael has his thoughts here. A way Hangman can get past the stipulation without breaking his word is if the champion challenges him for a title. So maybe title versus career. Also, I will point out, I don't know that it was anything specific, but Hangman did specifically say he would never challenge for the men's world championship again, but that may also just be because he still calls it the men's world championship. MJF does not, because that's just who MJF is. He doesn't call it that. And so I don't know if it was just because that's the word, that's the term, or if there was something specific about that line. Of course, if he can never challenge for the world championship again, that doesn't mean that he can't challenge for the TNT championship. A friend and colleague of mine says that he's going to be a 10-time TNT champion.
That was the joke.
He can still challenge for the national championship.
Keela Cash, actually, that's so funny. Keela Cash in the Discord said, welcome to your 17-time TNT champion.
Right.
About killed everyone in.
Yes. Yeah, I had a friend who said it was going to be 10 times. Somebody else said that so there's national title, and there's the international title. And also I want to point out briefly while we talk about the national title. The national title is supposed to be what MJF is doing. MJF is defending this title on the Indies. Yeah. That's what they're supposed to be doing with a national championship. However, I do like the story. So shout out to Andrade last night, who said, why are you giving indie talent easy access to this title, but you're dodging everybody else? You are afraid to face people in AEW for this title. That's why you're giving indie shots, which I thought was brilliant. I thought that was really great, which makes it make sense because this is literally what the national title is supposed to be. Ricochet is supposed to be taking this national title and defending it elsewhere, and he has yet to do so. Maybe it's just because they're working things out. Maybe he eventually will, but I just thought about that. I was like, MJF has defended this twice. Why is Ricochet not defending it on the indies? And then Andrade also we saw the clip, but Andrade got involved in MJF's matches against Zilla Fatu. He kept him from hitting Zilla with the belt. MJF obviously did still retain. But he actually shook Zilla's hand afterwards. Also, there was a shot also at HOG Wrestling. I saw a clip of it. Andrade was wrestling Charles Mason, and Andrade is doing the gimmick there too, where they have usually it's an indie wrestler. Sometimes it's an OnlyFans model, but in this case, it was I believe another indie wrestler. And Charles Mason kicked the soul out of her body when he was posing for a picture with her. Like that clip is insane, but on brand with everything I know about Charles Mason. And then also on that same show, Private Party wrestled, and they said they don't know if it can happen, but they didn't say them by name, but the fans were chanting. They won a title match against the Hardy Boys. I believe the Hardy Boys have the HOG tag team wrestling titles. They want to face them, but they were like, Isaiah was like, I don't even know if it's possible. I'm just going to throw this out there. This is what we want. So, let's sound like some good stuff happened from Hog Wrestling or from HOG Wrestling, and that promo was really, really good. I thought it was the Indies too. I thought it was whenever. So Josiah, I saw the Joe sheet. It made me think of Josiah. Brad says, technically the national title for defenses with partner companies, NJPW and CMLL. They didn't mention the NDAs. I thought it was anything. I thought it was he could defend it wherever he wanted. Yeah, I heard this right. JD from Long Island, who used to be HOG's, was a ring announcer or commentator? I think it was commentator. If you don't know who he is, I hope you never find out, guys. I blocked him a long time ago for comments he made about Alexa Bliss because he's a gross human being. And then his whole thing is he makes money off of shitting off on AEW and saying terrible things. And anyway, he'd been taken off, and people tried to blame Mercedes, and Mercedes didn't have anything to do with it. But his fans tried to blame her. But yeah, he apparently got brought back, and they booed the hell out of him. And people were saying you could tell that he tried to play it off, but you could tell it hurt his feelings. But as somebody said, you made your bed, now you need to lie in it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're a piece of crap, you're gonna have to reap the consequences of being a piece of crap.
Yes.
I don't know.
Definitely
Seems obvious to me, but who am I?
I'm going to go back to some of the comments here too, because Nikki said, wait, did we go? Wait, am I going too far past it? Yeah, hang on a second. Let's see. Jordan says, I love Tony, but I'd be curious to see his motivations. I don't know who's going to win, but I feel like MJF will. AEW has a lot of belts and a lot of contenders. This is maybe a way to free up the main title situation. I just don't see, I mean, of course they'll do it. Maybe he goes, as somebody said, maybe he makes him go back on his word, which is possible, but it's also hard. You almost set Hangman up where he has to win this match. Yeah. And of course they can get around it. I'm sure they thought this through, unlike Cody.
So.
I don't know what exactly is going to go down, but they have almost set it up where Hangman has to win.
Almost.
But then what do you do with if they're doing Hangman? Because my theory has been that Kenny Omega will challenge for the title at Dynasty because it's in Canada. So what do you do if you do Hangman? I mean, obviously Hangman and Kenny have plenty of they have plenty of history. I don't really care about like babyface versus babyface and heel versus heel, but in this situation, you'd have babyface versus babyface unless Hangman does something to make him a heel, but in that little period of time. And there's so many people vying for this title that it seems like MJF's reign is going to go a bit longer. But if Hangman wins here, then what do you do? Because I think regardless, Ospreay is winning that title at All In. It's just it would make sense for him to take it off of MJF. However, it is Hangman, and Hangman is, the main character and all that stuff. So that also would make sense too. But I think regardless, Ospreay's winning it all in, regardless of how he's doing it. Nikki said she wants them. Yes, she did say that she wants them to do a dog collar match, which would be great.
That'd be awesome.
Crash says Hangman should make it hair versus hair because somebody has new hair that's thicker than Mark Davis, which made me laugh out loud. And I was like, I'm glad that everybody else also sees and appreciates just the thickness that Mark Davis has. But I laughed out loud when he said it. I think, LaRon, this seems like, where they could be going with this is that Hangman's going to lose, break his word, and prove MJF right. Because Hangman said, you and I are a lot more alike than you think. We both have insecurities. We just want people to like us. So then that would be a way to prove MJF right, is to lose and go back on his word. Big Man says, I think it could help Hangman avoid putting himself in a Chris Statlander position where he cools off because his character has no goals or struggle. I think he will still have, perhaps, maybe that is why they're doing it this way. It just seems I think it's just shocking to hear someone say, especially someone like Hangman Page, who has been with the company day one, much like Cody Rhodes, who is a fan favorite, much like Cody Rhodes. He's a 2-time champion. His second title reign ended way too fast. I would argue maybe even the first one too, but the second one definitely ended too quickly. People do want him to be champion again. People hate MJF. Granted, MJF's this title reign has gone a lot better than the last one. So it's really interesting to see a dumb baby face make a dumb baby face move. But Big Man does point out, and out of kayfabe, as a wrestler, it's low key a smart stipulation to push for if you you won't win the world title for a while going forward. Yeah, and it'll just be like, how do they get around that? Because we've talked about this, the last several weeks, especially with why we knew Brody King wasn't getting belted, is because Tony plans out his has typically with a world championship planned out his champions year, several years in advance, or not several years, like several champions in advance is what I'm trying to say. My theory, just based off of nothing, is that obviously Ospreay wins at All In, but I think Omega is the one to take it off Ospreay.
Yeah.
Because of their history.
They are going to give it to Omega at some point.
I think Omega will be world champion in 2027 at some point. There's no room for Hangman right this second in a very full title picture. So, sure, this gets him out of it for now, but how do you get him back in it to eventually? Because you can't have Hangman Page in what is probably the prime of his career not ever being world champion again, or not even challenging for it again. And somebody made the comment that maybe that person challenges Hangman and that's how we get away from it. Maybe that's how it goes. Brad says Hangman challenges for the AEW Women's World Championship confirmed for finally getting in her chest and her wrestling full throttle. You know what? Hangman would be the one.
Why
not? Let me see some other comments. Somebody else thinks they're going to do a heel turn, which Hangman would be a fun heel turn.
Would, because
we can kind of because he doesn't have to be. He wouldn't be a heel in, I think, a typical sense. Where
not just quite a traditional, like just meanie heel.
Kind of like a Kenny Omega type of heel.
Yes,
that type of heel, not the. MJF, this heel run minus that first god awful promo when he turned. Besides that one, this has been a really great heel run for him. But Hangman's not going for the low hanging fruit. He's not going for the rotting food on the ground type of things. Not those type of promos. I could see him going more the Kenny.
Go back
route.
To drinking and being crazy and
I could see
burning
people's
man.
Down.
I don't have to worry about acting like a champion because I'm never going to be one again. So I can just go around and be a total menace.
Yeah.
You can be the Minoru Suzuki of.
I'll take it.
He can start his own version of chaos in there and just like put the Death Riders down, just go around just beating up, even like Don Callis, make him scream like a girl, like
but then that won't be then he won't will that really make him a heel then? That might make him a baby face if he takes down the Don Callis family. Yeah, that's a good question, Fernando. What happens if it's a draw? I'm assuming they're not going to put us in that situation. However, that is a fair question for a wrestling fan to ask.
Excellent question.
Maybe we will know a little bit more once we know what MJF and what he tells us. Dumb people
could very well be like
people maybe he'll enlighten the dumb people next on Wednesday.
The stipulation could very well be like something like, I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy. You're trying to get out of having the big stage, and I'm not going to let you make a stipulation where you're not allowed to do that because you're being a big puss. Like, I mean, you never know. Yeah. You could make a totally like weird stipulation that none of us are thinking about because of the fact that everyone's like, he went full Cody, no. So
would a draw count as a loss? No. Well,
usually
no.
The winner keeps the belt.
MJF would still have the title because
he's champion. I don't know what it would mean for.
But I don't know what that I don't know what that would mean for Hangman never challenging again because the match didn't officially end
in a defeat.
In a winner and a clear winner and loser. So they would probably just do a rematch or somehow let Hangman off the hook. But I don't know that that's what they would do, but it is a good question because maybe that's how they get away with it. I don't know. Brad, that's what I've been saying, that Ospreay is coming back at Revolution because, as I've said a few times, Revolution is where Will Ospreay made his first pay-per-view appearance as a full-time member of the AEW roster. He had a match last year at Revolution. Or was it last year? No, the year before last. Time is running together. But regardless, it was at Revolution. And so I've been saying that I think he's coming back at Revolution because that's where he debuted officially as a member of the roster. His first in-ring debut, of course, he was on TV. Before that, he came on TV to tell you that's where his first match was going to be, was at Revolution. Crash says, I wonder if Ospreay may turn after he wins the title. Can't see him doing it before the Wembley homecoming. Oh, he absolutely will not turn heel before that, but I mean, they definitely could do that, especially if they are going with him versus Omega. Then it would make sense for a heel Ospreay to face a babyface Kenny Omega. Even though heel Kenny is the best Kenny, I feel like he's already had the heel title run as world champion when he did the belt collector stuff and was going on DNA and things like that. So I think I think his last title reign will be.
We had an Omega Ospreay 3.
I don't think so.
Because I was at 2.
I don't think we've had 3.
The greatest wrestling match I've ever witnessed, and I've seen some good ones, but geez.
That's how I felt.
There weren't like other 5-star matches on that card.
Yeah, that's how I felt when I saw Ospreay versus Takeshita.
Yeah.
At Revolution in 2024.
These shows have been awesome. I will give Tony credit. The shows have been really good lately.
They have been. So they definitely have been.
They better have a plan here, I guess.
Yes. Michael says, is this Hangman's way of bowing out of the world title scene to free up a spot for someone? Oh, wait, I think this was a similar question. Yeah, about is he doing this to bow out for a spot to open up a spot for someone else because maybe he'll be the main figure in the trios division for a while. I mean, they have matching gear now, which, according to Speedball, was inspired by Beyonce.
The Jet Set Rodeo, yes.
Yeah, the new gear they had last night was Beyonce inspired, and it's Sway Archer who makes Speedball's gear. He and another person created the gear together. They posted the picture of Beyonce that they used the gear. So yes, that is. And I was like, this makes total sense for all three of them to wear Beyonce inspired gear. It's like this makes perfect sense.
Makes total sense.
Yes. Let's see. LaRon says Hangman might have a better title reign as a heel because Tony came back a babyface title run. See Hangman Page's last title run. Yeah. Michael goes back to the trio saying similar to what he and Kenny did for the tag titles. You know, that's not a bad idea because those trios titles have not really meant anything since they've had them. And if they're gonna put and like putting them on one of your biggest wrestlers, and then two of your current most popular wrestlers in Speedball and Kevin Knight, it makes sense that they would actually like have a good title, or like a decent title run where they're actually defending the titles on a regular basis, which the demand, like that's how they got a match, because Ricochet was like, Hangman's too focused on the world title that you haven't even defended these yet,
Right.
which is good because they are so bad at defending the trios title in general. LaRon, I did not think about that. Hangman could get around the title stipulation by winning the Owen. The Owen winner is guaranteed a title shot.
That's a good point.
That's really smart, LaRon. I
like it.
Forgot about that.
I like it.
Okay.
Smart thinking.
Yes. Yeah. Hangman needs to focus on the trios title, just like they need to.
That could be fun. I mean, it could be fun to have them really actually do trios matches, because those three are great, and they could really help get some people some reps and make them into teams.
Yeah. And then Fernando says Hangman doesn't need to be in the World Championship picture for a long time. The main event scene is stacked, and this is a clever decision, especially when you've got Swerve doing the things Swerve is doing now too. So these two tend to run kind of parallel in some of the things that they're doing now, because they're obviously always going to be entwined. Jordan said that companies do this. Undertaker, Kurt Angle, Cody Rhodes, and Randy Savage were all great contenders that found themselves pushed out of the main title picture to free up space for others. Big Man said, I assume Hangman turns heel eventually because he just gave his word and isn't legally barred from competing for the title again. Yeah, it feels like or he says contractually, not legally. Yeah, it feels a heel turn seems logical for Hangman, especially if MJF is the one to make him go back on his word. Mm-hmm. That seems like a really good catalyst for that. But Fernando makes this point that he doesn't know if turning Hangman right after Swerve is a good idea. Hangman and Swerve, a two-man power trip, please? Yes. I'll take it. Which is funny because Swerve is targeting the Elite. He posted a picture of, so obviously in the main event we saw that because the joke is Kenny Omega can never just take time off work. He can't request PTO like a normal person. He has to nearly die to be written off TV, because we knew about this and I had actually forgotten about it by the time Wednesday rolled around. Kenny is not available for Revolution because he is contractually obligated to be at some Capcom event in Japan. They've known this for months. And so that's why they went ahead and did Swerve Hangman Swerve Omega when they did. And then we saw Swerve put him through, he did the Vertebreaker, which was insane. And then he put him through a table. You have Bryan Danielson screaming on commentary, we get it, you've made your point, please stop. Danielson's like, I'm going to forget about my neck injury and I'm going to fight Swerve right now if he doesn't stop. And so then Swerve tweets a picture, and he put I think it was Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, wasn't there someone else? And then he put a red X next to each name. So he is clearly targeting the Elite. Which I thought was, I thought it was interesting too. It'll be fun. I have enjoyed babyface Swerve. However, heel Swerve is unpredictable, and if you're going to call yourself the most dangerous man in AEW, you can't be a babyface.
Yeah.
You just can't. If you're going to be the most dangerous man, you need to prove it, and he did. He put Kenny Omega, who obviously a beloved wrestler, an actual EVP, put him through a table to end the show, devastate Bryan Danielson while he did it. The heel turn was great. Prince Nana is like, this is what needed to happen, and somebody told him to blink twice if he needed help. He was like, and Nana was like, no, this is what needed to happen. Perhaps I've seen references to the Mogul Embassy with this, and so it'll be interesting to see how both of these play out. And I think you can have a heel Hangman and a heel Swerve. you're gonna probably have to keep them apart from one another. Except for, but Swerve is also gunning for the world championship, regardless of who holds it. Andrade has said he is still going for it. Brody King has said he is still going for it. So you have all these people who are still in the picture. So even if Hangman's not in the title picture, he can still do some heel things. It'll just be kind of interesting to see how they handle that. Crash brought up the point that he doubts we'll do a time limit draw because MJF and Hangman, or between MJF and Hangman, because Mox and Takeshita is probably good at, he thinks could run near 60 minutes on the same pay-per-view, because it does have, that's the stipulation, is it cannot end in a draw like it did at Grand Slam. They have to have a clear winner. Brad says he doesn't think they'll go 60. The time limit for continental matches is 20. No time limit means they're probably going 25 to 30. So we know that there's going to be a clear winner there. Fernando, I hope so. I hope Jay White is almost ready to return. And we got last night in a backstage segment, we got Juice.
I know.
I'm so excited.
Bring them all back.
I was like, oh my God, we have Juice, we have Colton, and we have Ace. Put them on my TV, please.
Yeah,
put the trios title.
Yesterday.
If we're not going to do a serious trios run with Jet Set Rodeo, then do a trios run with Bullet Club Black and Gold, please. Please. And they are also very heavily hinting at I just lost my train of thought because I saw a comment the thing, and so I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that? Oh, they were hinting heavily at David Finlay last night.
Oh,
Dave,
yeah.
Dave Kidd was. That's where I was going with that. He hinted at David Finlay, and I lean towards David Finlay coming to AEW. Maybe it's just, part of it's maybe because I want him at AEW. Maybe I'm just biased, but it felt like that's what they were getting at. And I was telling Nikki that one of Finlay's last pictures he posted was of him and the War Dogs, and it said MDFR, which is their thing. My dog for real is that's their little tagline or whatever. They just always shorten it. That was one of the last things he posted. He has a match with Fred Rosser at the New Japan America show on the 27th. And then there was a report yesterday this week from Fightful saying that even though WWE has had contact with Finlay, they do not currently have plans for him. And also New Japan is trying to re-sign him. So seems like things with Finlay are kind of up in the air. And then we had somebody in the chat last week hint that Bullet Club is not dead. So, does he mean Bullet Club War Dogs? Does he mean Bullet Club Black and Gold?
Bullet Club, I don't care. Just all of those people on my television right now.
Yeah.
Plus Forbidden Door is still happening. So, there is still possibilities to build that. Theoretically, right? It was announced.
No, Forbidden Door is I'm pretty sure they announced it. Didn't they announce the date for it too? I think they did.
I feel like they announced all their pay-per-views for the year already, but
let's see. Forbidden Door 2026. Let's see if they add it. No, that's all. That's all in. I said Forbidden. Oh, wait a minute. No, I think this is right. Hang on. I'm waiting for this article to load. And it's a picture of Hangman with the title. Makes me sad because I don't have any more. Okay. Yes, so All In is Sunday, August the 30th from Wembley, obviously. And if this article will load faster. Okay, it says the company will be making its annual trip to the UK next month when Forbidden Door goes live from the O2 Arena in London. Wait a minute, that's not right because that says August the 20th. Oh, wait, is Forbidden Door really the week before All In?
That's happened before, so it could be.
Because if this Sports Illustrated article, it says the company will be making its annual trip to the UK when AEW x PW Forbidden Door goes live from the this is from 2026, right? Hang on. Let me make sure. There's a big graphic that says August 30th, 2026. No, this is from last year. Okay. I was like, wait a minute, that's not, are they really doing it a week apart?
No, that was last
they
year.
announced
We
Forbidden
talked
Door
about
date?
what a bad idea that was.
Yeah, that's why I was like, wait a minute.
Or how tough that was going to be, moving people back and forth from all the places.
Yes.
Time changes and so forth.
Yeah, because it was at the O2 last year because they had to move it because of Coldplay had already booked Wembley because, Wembley is a big deal.
Because that's going on.
I guess the date has not been announced, but I think they've indicated that there will be another.
Yeah, so maybe they're not doing it right now, but
I swear I thought that they said they were going to, but maybe
they just haven't announced it yet.
Okay, so Laurent said that there's no date listed on Cage Match. I was thinking that they said they were still doing Forbidden Door this year, but maybe I have confused myself.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
pay
yes.
attention.
Yeah, that was fun. Juice, Ace, Dalton, Outrunners, Colton was there. Anthony Bowens, who was the only one excited about there not being women. Let's see here. Let me go back through some of the comments. Yeah, I could see that happening too. That if I feel like they're going to build up the trios titles a bit before the Rascals take them, which they should. They should.
That would be, a reason to build the division. You did just bring them in, so.
Okay, well then, Brad makes the comment that he thinks if Hangman is banned from the title, he wouldn't allow to be in the ON for that reason. But it is how they could get around it. So
they could.
We shall see. Yeah, Michael says maybe even a casino gauntlet match. Maybe that's how they get around it. That could be. Or maybe he just challenges. Well, no, I don't say, well, as long as MJF is champion, but no, he was very specific with ever again. Fernando says Stone Cold was not allowed to challenge for the WWE Championship during Vince versus Stone Cold storyline, and Women to Rumble gave them an out. So it seems like there's a way that they could potentially do it. Yeah, and Swerve saying to the camera that he needed this when he turned on Kenny the way that he did. Yeah, he did just pull Aubrey right in the way. Already kind of planting the heel turn, then was like, he's pulling Aubrey in the way. It was a masterclass turn. It was well choreographed and on TV.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
That was great. I really enjoyed that. And then there was a very nice comment I was going to go back and read, and I can't. Let me see if I can find. This is the comment that distracted me from my train of thought about. Yes, thank you, Brandon. He said it's refreshing to see women loving professional wrestling and having a podcast to talk about it.
Thank you. We enjoy each other's company, and you guys.
We do. Yeah, we always enjoy talking with us. So thank you for appreciating.
We're big wrestling nerds. We love having you guys around out with us, even when there's tough stuff.
Yeah, Laurent, you're not wrong. Finley would be crazy to go to WWE. Look at what they're doing with his brother. That's his future. Yeah, because they're doing. If you have not heard, so there was a rumor that they were going to do basically a Nepo baby faction. Then they trademarked the name Birthright, and now they are using it online. All of the wrestlers who are second, third, fourth generation, whichever they fall under. None of them use their family name as their character.
Awesome.
So again, much like Braun Breaker does not use Steiner, even though if you close your eyes and listen to him,
he sounds just like him.
First, look at his face.
Yeah.
For one, but even if you close your eyes and listen to him speak, you will think it's you will think it's
when his dad was younger.
So it's just it's really stupid for hhim to not be a Steiner because he very much there's no denying the fact that man is a Steiner. And then, but yeah, so it's a really interesting thing. And Finley's brother, who does not use the name Finley in WWE, Uriah Connors is his name. He is in this faction.
Interesting.
The Birthright faction. So perhaps, because I thought, so Uriah tweeted and said he was the only, in all caps, 4th generation wrestler in WWE, which is correct. So that made me feel, he said the one and only. So I'm like, hopefully that means David Finlay is going to AEW. And that's why he said that. However, my friend who loves NXT was like, maybe he's trying to set up a feud with his brother, which would be not a smart thing to do right out of the gate, unless they're just doing a quick, David Finlay is going to be in NXT to learn how we wrestle in WWE, and then we're sending him to their main roster. But David Finlay should be debuting on the main roster, not in NXT feuding with his brother. But considering the way WWE books things, that's exactly what they would do, because clearly somebody is in a crate. And it's and originally my guess was Jericho, or the joke was Jericho. But because I have seen the theory, it probably is Danhausen.
Oh my.
It's a very good chance that that's how, because somebody was like, I would joke that this is how they're going to debut Danhausen, and then I realized it's probably how they're going to book Danhausen.
Is he going to WWE? I didn't
His
even know.
contract is up in February.
Interesting.
And he
So at
probably
the end of the week.
So yeah, his contract is it may have already ended. I just know it's up sometime this month. I don't know if he's still on the website. Well, I'm sure if he's still on the website, that means he's still on the contract. But apparently his contract, I believe, was reported as being up in February.
That sadly makes a lot of sense, honestly.
We'll talk about, if we're going to talk about Tony Khan bumbling somebody, Danhausen is one of them. That man moves an incredible amount of merch on his own. He constantly has new merch. I've subscribed to his Patreon back when he was in the Indies, and I'm still subscribed to it on like the lower tier. But on the higher tier, he's always doing all kinds of cool shit for them. Mm-hmm. Like he always has just all kinds of different merch that you could think of, and he is very good at that. And in a place where you on ROH, where you have MXM, you have the Outrunners, Danhausen makes perfect sense, and they barely even used him. And you have Orange Cassidy on the main roster. And they did try to put him with him briefly. They did the stuff with Hook. They did Hookhausen for a little bit. But he will probably, if he goes to WWE, he'll probably sell a shit ton of merch.
Oh, God, yeah.
Good for him. So I don't know. I don't know for sure if that's where he's going, but now that I've seen that,
that makes sense.
That would be absolutely be a way for WWE, they would definitely have him in a crate like he's gobbledygooker at a debut. Wow. I could definitely see that being the case. If that's who it is. Let's see here. Where is the comment? I've got to get caught up on ROH. I figured out where I'm at. I think as of last Thursday, I think I have 9 episodes to catch up on. Now that the Olympics are about to be over. And even though I have 2 shows starting this week, but I should be able, hopefully I'm going to at least start. I may even get an episode or 2 in tonight. So apparently, from what I understand, I saw a quote from an interview, Deonna either has not defended her title once or she's barely defended it since she won the Women's Pure Championship. And then she apparently liked a tweet saying she should go back to TNA, and then somebody screenshot it and tagged Tony in it because they're a little snitch and trying to start shit. But she could just be liking things just to be liking things. Maybe it was an accidental like. Who knows? Who gives a shit? Honestly. I think I don't know when her contract is up. Granted, there was some time that she was off of TV because her match in CMLL was not good and it upset the partners, and she was punished for it. Then they put her back on TV. She wins the title, and then apparently has barely done anything with it, which is on brand for ROH. It's on brand for women's titles. Again, I can't comment too much because I am so far behind. which is another reason I want to get caught up, is so that I can talk about these things. But Crash says that Deonna defended her title at the ROH tapings for what it's worth. So he probably saw those comments and was like, oh yeah, I have a title I need to defend. And then speaking of champions, way back at the Final Battle media call, I asked about Nick Wayne. Asked if because he's ROH men's ROH TV champion. He was injured around the time of All In a fluke accident in an in-ring segment with Christian Cage. It wasn't even in a match. It was just a in-ring segment. We know, look at Buddy Matthews. We know that foot injuries can be unexpected. They can heal on their own terms. And so I asked him, I was like, had you have known, like, will you know, I asked if there was a timetable when he was coming back and if they were going to do an interim championship, because Red Velvet was injured and she's the women's TV champion. She was injured and they put the interim title on Mina. Mercedes won that title from her. Then they unified the interim title. And then at Final Battle, Mercedes lost it to Red Velvet. So Red Velvet is the current TV champion, women's TV champion. So Tony said at the time, if I was a betting man, I would have bet that Nick Wayne would have been back before Final Battle. Had we known it was going to last this long, we would have probably had an interim champion, but I think he's close to returning. Well, close to returning is almost 3 months later because Nick Wayne was at the tapings last night. So now we know Nick Wayne. I assume this match will be on TV this week, but Nick Wayne is back. Kevin Knight.
Okay, that was the mystery person. I saw that Sadar shows up on ROH taping, and I just didn't get a chance to click into it before I got on here. So
I assume they mean Nick Wayne. I assume that's who they mean. Kevin Knight very quickly said, if Nick Wayne is back, does that mean? And then he put the Grinch emoji where his little things are like going out to the side because he wants to know if Mother Wayne is back, because Kevin was tweeting some things about Mama Wayne. And I hope that, I was like, please be careful because Mara Sade, who is his girlfriend, she is going to beat your butt for tweeting those things. But it was funny. So I was like, Kevin, it's been 5 seconds. He's not even on TV yet. So hopefully, if Nick Wayne comes back, does that mean Christian is on his way back? I don't know. I don't know what Christian's doing. And they were trying to get him away from that. Maybe they'll do some stuff with him and Jordan Oliver and Alec Price, because Jordan and Nick were tag team partners on the Indies. And last year, before Jordan even signed with them, AEW trademarked their tag team name, East West Express. So hopefully they're going to do, not to leave Alec Price out of this. Maybe they'll do a trios type thing, or they'll do some free bird rules. But East West Express is a really good tag team. And there's always more reasons to need more tag teams. Let's see here. So I'm glad to see that Deonna was there. Yes, Bad Dude Tito and Shane Hayes were at tapings last night too. And I know that they were in, because I follow Bad Dude Tito, and so I watched his stories and I saw that he was there last night, and I saw clips from their matches. They wrestled Skyflight the first time. It looked like Griff Garrison was who they wrestled last night from the clips that I saw, which means Tony is forcing me to watch a frat house match because he knows I want to see Bad Dude Tito. He was like, I'll give her one thing, but I'm going to make her watch something she hates. I like Griff Garrison, but I
could do without something that she doesn't prefer.
I like Griff Garrison as a wrestler, but I absolutely hate the frat house. I think that's such a dumb gimmick.
I get it.
All of them, as I said many times, all of them are way too old. Well, some of them are way too old, but all of them are aged out. None of them are old. None of them are young enough to be in a frat house. And I know that they're doing the best they can with what they're given, but God, Jack Jameson is so annoying. And I hate that theme music. God, it's awful. I mute it as soon as I know that they're coming. I can't stand it. So, of course, that is who TMDK is wrestling, because Tony is gonna, if he's gonna give me Tito, he's gonna make me watch that.
But work for it.
Thank you to Mike Gilbert, who also has joined the Sign Bad Dude Tito train and is doing his tweet. So hashtag Mel and I have been saying this since the very beginning of our podcast when he was back on the Strong shows that they were doing in California. When his partner was, well, the current Bronson Reed, the former Jonah.
Wrestled Okada.
Yes.
And a hell of a match.
Yes, he did. Bronson sure did. And so
it was a good match, man.
Yes. So please sign Bad Dude Tito, because there's a reason he shouldn't be signed. And if you're not going to sign him, I need New Japan to bring him back and let him go wrestle in the G1. Yes, Robbie Eagles got a chant going. I saw some of the clips from his matches, and I saw that he paid tribute to a Australian wrestler, and he was really excited to be able to pay tribute to people who paved the way for him. So I thought that was really cool. Gray Head said, I'm enjoying the logic of WWE's just like Sam enjoying the great tag team. Yes, Danhausen has been wanting to leave for a while, so I could see them definitely debuting him that way. Yeah, let's see how WWE... If AEW treated Danhausen the way they did, I don't know how WWE is going to treat him.
He seems like he'd be kind of a good fit for their goofiness in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, they could just put him all the way over and just let him go.
Yeah. Right, yeah, I think he's a merch seller. Yeah, he's definitely going to move a lot of merch. While they were able to never make it work in AEW is beyond me. Some people say it's because he was friends with Pepsi Phil, but so is Brody. And we see Brody's on TV all the time. I mean, maybe that's part of it. But I think they just didn't know what to do with Danhausen.
Yeah.
I think that's just, they really just didn't know what to do with him. And so instead of putting him on, which is interesting because you've got MXM, you've got them doing stuff with Johnny TV and Taya. You have, like, he would have been perfect in ROH. And he was in ROH, like, where he has been the few times. Then they brought him back for one pay-per-view, and then they never used him again, and he hasn't been used since. I don't remember hearing this, so maybe there's just so much information that it left my brain. Awesome. Brad said he thinks Tony soured on Danhausen when he was found to be selling bootleg merch at an indie show. I don't remember the story. I mean, maybe it's, I'm not saying it's wrong. I just, for whatever reason, don't remember that story, and I could see that would be a problem. I mean, that would be a problem. So. Yes. Maria said snitches for non-cross suck. Right. I do have to keep up because I do Dave Meltzer's favorite thing, which is timing women's matches. To help hold these people accountable for the way they book women. She's one of those. That's just one tiny little fraction. But also, I mean, there were storylines, and I was keeping up with some of the things that were happening, and there were some positive things that have been happening, and I've heard more positive things. So I do want to, because Nikki said the same thing. She's like, well, why can't we just start? And she's like, oh, because you have to time women's matches. So yes, I got to go back. And they were doing so the thing that I'm on is the Global Wars show from December, and I heard there was really good stuff on there. So that's another reason I want to see them. I can't wait to see the Global Wars show that they did with Athena, with her wrestling promotion, and now they're also doing stuff with Maple Leaf Pro. So I want to know what's happening, and so I will eventually watch all of those. Oh my goodness! Well, you know what? I think I do remember that she, Diana said she had an asthma attack during the CMLL match, and that's part of the reason the match did not go really well. But yes, he has fumbled Diana. But hey, now that we got Thunder Rosa back of course she had a match, but I just kind of, as I was writing my preview last night, I was like, hey, wow, Thunder Rosa returned in a backstage segment, which is exactly how they made her drop her title. And then Tony Khan got mad at me when I asked about it. And that's where we found out that I made Tony Khan mad by asking him and he misunderstood my question and then ranted at me for several minutes because he took my question personally and he misunderstood what I was saying. But I was like, oh, that's
clearly,
funny.
He had some issues behind the scenes and projected right on Sam that day.
So Thunder Rosa, so I was just like, oh, that's kind of funny. Thunder Rosa returned and tells us she's cleared at a backstage segment, much in the way she vacated the women's title the first time at a backstage segment when CM Punk got to vacate his in the middle of a ring during a 8-minute promo.
In a big
and her promo, her vacating the title fit into a Twitter video at the time when Twitter your videos could only last 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Well, her vacating lasted long enough to fit into a tweet. And when I asked about that, I got greeted with some anger.
When Sam asked about that, clearly Tony had been on the hook with other people about it, and Sam took the brunt of that, projected those feelings right there. Because seriously, no one reacts like that unless they've already been needled about it. Because he totally had an illogical freak out reaction to you. So clearly there was other things going on there. And you touched the wrong sore spot, and
I'm just doing my job and asking questions.
And that was when that was the whole time that we had to come up with your alternate.
Oh no, that happened a little bit later. The alternate thing that happened at the Revolution Media Scrum.
Okay, that's right. So you just kind of were building up, and then really,
right
between the Thunder Rosa thing and then the Revolution Scrum, it was just. We had to come up with an alt just in case you.
Just in case, yeah. But yeah, so I'm good for her for being back. She wrestled Julia. She came out with a really cool cape that said, I think it was what was it, Mexicana? No, Mujer Mexicana Immigrante, which obviously means woman, Latina, or I'm sorry, Mexican immigrant. She said into the camera, "We're here. We're not going anywhere." Yeah. She's always worn that character that character. That's been part of her character, is what I should say. Because I saw somebody was like, "Oh, she's just pandering because of what happened with Brody." Well, have you watched anything Thunder Rosa has done ever? Because Thunder Rosa is probably a Mexican woman, and
her whole blog was going around eating tacos with people every goddamn
right, and she
because she is from there, and she was testing everyone else's tacos all over the place,
right, and she has very much been very proud of
her heritage and her background.
And she's worn gear, she's worn face paint.
Her entire gimmick is a freaking.
She's just adding who she is into her gimmick. And so somebody last night of course people were saying stupid racist
That's
things.
Ridiculous. She's been going around with that.
But somebody was basically just
gimmick forever.
Yeah, so people who don't know what they're talking about obviously were making comments. But good to see her back. She had a decent match. Clearly she hasn't wrestled in I think 8 months. Her last match was at All In. And her last singles match was at Supercard of Honor when she faced Athena, and then she was having some back injury. She's been having some back issues for several years. Britt Baker made some nice little comments about that. But Thunder Rosa has been dealing with this, and so she's finally been cleared, and nice to see her back in the picture. And hopefully because her and Deanna had a bull rope match last year on TV. And so that was one of the things that happened then. And then this is not surprising, unfortunately. Mercedes Martinez also said in a recent interview saying similar about how they don't know why they're not booked on TV or often. And Mercedes Martinez is incredible. I've always been a huge fan of hers. And she was a really great ROH champion. She was the one who Athena defeated. And they brought her back for the TV. When they were crowning a women's TV champion, they put her in the tournament and she got knocked out. And I think the first or second round, and we haven't seen her since. And then now she's gone. Her contract expired earlier this year, and this is her first. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be her last year in professional wrestling, and I think she said she's going to retire at the end of the year. I believe is what she said. Yes. Nick Wayne was on the Swerve diet of prayers and vitamins because he got swole. Apparently that's what he's been doing. He was showing, like, I've been a fan of Nick Wayne since he was in GCW. I've been really excited that they signed him, and he definitely was showing a ton of improvement before his injury. And so I hope he can pick up where he left off, because he's really, really talented. And I'm glad that he's back. Okay. Yeah. So Deanna has been booked on ROH, or since winning the title, she's only defended her title once against Billy Starks, which is insane. Let me see. Trying to go back into some of the comments here. Yes. I have the backup name. Stephanie Shipley. Yes. When they get mad at you, that means you're doing a great job in your profession.
Correct.
Thank you. And yes. Yeah, Tekla was great. She was cooking Thunder Rosa next to Toni Storm. I think she's the best talker. Yeah, Tekla is really funny and she's really natural at it. And then there was even the promo after that aired on social media, where she was talking about Thunder Rosa and how all of our favorites are bitches and they're all dead, and who's going to step to her, and was talking about, then of course she's talking about Thunder Rosa, and she was just talking about how toxic she is and nobody's going to take that title from her because she's the best. But she's basically what she got at, but it was good. It appears that way, Lauren. I mean, we're 3 weeks away? So
yeah, this next Monday, next Sunday will be our birthday party, and that's March 1st, right?
Yeah, so is Thunder Rosa getting a title match this early? Sure seems that way, which,
possible.
You can make the argument that she's been out of the title scene for 8 months. Why is she getting a title match? We don't know for sure if it's going to be a Revolution. Perhaps it's before. Perhaps she blows her off and they do it later, but it appears that's where they're going.
Yeah, it looks like it's going that way.
Yeah, I know. They don't have any other contenders who haven't been away from TV since last summer. Yeah, I'm not thrilled with them. Apparently shoehorning her into this. I mean, I do get like putting her back on TV and giving her matches. I don't think she should automatically go into the title picture.
Yeah.
I'm not. I get like wanting the title because of what happened and she had to give it up and all of that stuff. But that was against Jamie Hayter. But obviously Jamie Hayter is a tag team wrestler now. And so, yeah, I'm not really sure the reasoning behind that. I mean, perhaps Tekla requested to wrestle her. I don't know. Or maybe Tony is just like, I have a hard time booking women, so I don't know. So it's just, Thunder Rosa's the former champion, so, I mean, you could, if you're going to go that route, then you should just put Nyla Rose on TV, because there was a point in time where every time there was a new champion, the first one or two people they defended against was Nyla Rose, because she was the second ever AEW Women's Champion, and people keep asking about Britt Baker. I mean, people are asking about Nyla, but I would much rather see Nyla Rose on my TV. She's fantastic, and I wish they would do that. Yeah, it could be that they just do Tekla versus Thunder Rosa on Dynamite, because that's not a pay-per-view match, at least not now, not till they build it up some more. So, yeah, I hope that that's not what they're doing with it, but given Tony's track record, I mean, hopefully it's not going to be a pay-per-view. It would make, this is a Dynamite match. I mean, she's been back, she's had one match back. She should not be getting pay-per-view matches on, or getting title matches on pay-per-views. And that should not be Tekla's first. That's not who she should wrestle for on the pay-per-view for the first time. And that's not to take anything away from Thunder Rosa, but Thunder Rosa hasn't been on TV since last summer. And so I don't like that. So I would much rather it be on Dynamite or even Collision at this point. Yeah, I could see them doing a rematch, because she asked if she was still bleeding last night. Because she's not been cleared. Yeah, not cleared. Wait a minute, sorry, it moved. Yeah, Thunder is wrestling Tekla on Dynamite because Chris wasn't cleared to wrestle. A Thunder Rosa feud between her and Stat. Yeah, because that did come out last night because Julia was going to attack Thunder Rosa while she was distracted by Tekla, and Chris stopped her. Yes, and I don't think... Yeah, speaking of Britt, they asked her if she was retired, and she said she wouldn't say she's retired. But then they asked her if she was still a full-time dentist, and she said no, she had to step away or step back because she said, she specifically said AEW wrestling fans, some of them are crazy, and some of them, she implied she was being threatened because she was a bad guy. And so if she's taking a step away from being a dentist because of that, she might also be stepping away from being in the ring because of that. And then of course, as we talked about last week, obviously she's had health issues as well. So, there's a sort of an update on Britt. She says she's not retired, but it doesn't seem like she's trying to come back anytime soon either. And Maria asks, I have not heard anything about Ruby being... I know the last thing I heard, obviously, is she opened... her and Ange opened that cafe/game bar type thing. And I know that they're doing that. It seems to be doing well. I heard at one point she was training, but it was from somebody who said it, so I don't know if it was just it was like a fan who said it, so I don't know that she's actually been training, and I have not heard anything about her attempting to come back. That doesn't mean that she's not. I haven't heard anything about that. Let me see. I'm trying to see if there was anything else. Yeah, so we do have the two Revolution matches, which we kind of talked about. One, well, we've talked about Hangman and I keep wanting to say Swerve, Hangman and MJF. And so we kind of know where that's going. And then we did get the confirmation that FTR is wrestling the Young Bucks. And if we didn't already think Young Bucks were going to win, I think last night just proved even more that the Young Bucks are going to win, because the Young Bucks, obviously, they got their win over the Squirrel during the main event. They caused a little bit of a distraction so that the Rascals would win a title eliminator match. And so they beat FTR. And then after the match, all kinds of hell broke loose. The Bucks, family took up the entire front row. It was parents, siblings, children. There was so many of them. And Stoke was talking trash to the kids. FDR was talking trash to the kids. Dax shoved Papa Buck a couple times. Papa Buck spit in Stokely's face. And then Cash pushed Mama Buck. Then they pulled Malachi, their brother Malachi, over the barricade, did a pile driver on him in the ring. It's just so I don't see how you don't have the Young Bucks win after that. It seemed to definitely set up that. I mean, I thought they were winning anyway. I still think we're doing...
I can't wait.
Yeah. Me either.
I love having them back this way. I'm not going to lie. It's just great. It feels good. It feels
does
right.
feel good. Yes. In a perfect world, I would like the Young Bucks to be tag team champions while Kenny is the world tag team champion. I mean, the world champion. I would love that. I don't know if we're going to get that based on the timing. I mean, who knows? I mean, again, I am just guessing. I think Omega is the one to beat Ospreay, and I think it'll be next year. Obviously, the Young Bucks could lose the titles and then get them back, but we also need to be pushing up younger tag teams. If Cope and Christian are coming back, they could still do... I think the plan is my guess is Young Bucks versus Cope and Christian at Wembley. And then if they're doing that, I assume Cope and Christian will at least hold the titles, even if it's for a couple of months, just so they can add it to their accolades of holding tag team titles, together in all of these companies. So I kind of think that's where that's going. And then also I thought last week when I saw the Brawling Birds are absolutely winning the women's tag team titles at All In as well. I mean, it's just very, it's super obvious. It's my very early hot take booking prediction is that the Brawling Birds win the tag titles. Will it be off of Babes of Wrath? I hope not. I hope that they lose those titles before then so that Willow can focus being on the TBS champion and that they can build up those tag team titles for somebody else, for the Brawling Birds to eventually take it off of them. That's my hot take, is that they're gonna win. They are awesome. I love them as a team. They're fun. And then it also makes sense because then you have Will and Alex winning titles together on the same night, which is a nice little
in Britain.
story.
Yeah,
which is a
fun
little story.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Nikki said that she would love for Mega Bad versus Brawling Birds at All In, which you could absolutely do, because then you could have the Hill team. And considering we still think that Mega Bad probably was the ones winning those titles to begin with, and it didn't happen, and there's still plenty of time to hold that. And then they can do that. Like, I don't have a problem with, let's see. Hang on, there's movement in the comments and I lost where I was. Curryhead says that he kind of wants to see FTR hold the titles for a long time just to make me miserable. No, I'm tired of I mean, sure, if you would like to be miserable, that's all good for you. But we're pushing down other tag. And yes, I get the argument. Well, the Young Bucks are doing the same thing. The Young Bucks actively put over younger talent. They wrestled the Swirl last night and gave the Swirl a lot. Not that the Swirl is not a bad team, because they are a solid team, but the Young Bucks gave them a lot last night. And that's what they do. And so Brad says FTR and the Bucks are 3-time tag team champions. No other team has won those titles more than twice. If any of them won them twice. Well, it's time for them to lose them. They got their thing. So at least FTR is trying to keep the kids off drugs.
Dare to do it.
LaRon predicts that Willow's going to lose the TBS title at Revolution. I don't know who's taking the tag titles off of them. It should be Mega Bad, and Willow should just hold the TBS championship and actually defend it away from Mercedes. Again, it's like the Tony thing and defending the women's world title away from Tony. We need that TBS title defended away from Mercedes. Granted, Willow had it first, and Mercedes beat Willow, and then Willow, beat her again, which we're going to talk about Mercedes in a second. Crash says Megan seems to be on the hunt for the TBS title and clearly not the tag titles with Mega Bad, as much as the announcers seem to be confused. And I mean, I would not be mad at Megan being in the TBS title picture, but I think Mega Bad should win the tag team titles. I would just prefer that. But I would not be mad at Megan. Megan needs a title, regardless. It's time for her to have one. I would dig it, because if Brad says he's digging Willow being a fighting champion with 2 titles, the Jay Lethal ROH World/TV Championship run to both titles until it gets to be too much. But the thing is, the tag team titles are not established enough. That needs to be the focus. If these belts had been around for a little bit and she was doing this, then that would be one thing. But those titles don't really have an identity yet. We're still trying to build them up. And the TBS title, like the 4-way match, I mean, yes, in theory, it made sense and you can explain it away, but it felt like we haven't had Willow defend the title in a while. Let's do this 4-way with people she's already feuding with. And so I don't, and again, I say this as somebody who loves Willow, and under any other circumstances, I would love to belt Willow, but in this circumstance, I don't, because Willow needs to be focusing on one or the other, which means Tony Khan needs to be focusing. And I don't like, we have 3 women's title in AEW and Willow has 2 of them. I don't like that. I don't like that. We need 3 separate champions in this case until we start figuring stuff out. And then Nikki said that she guesses that Penelope, and it could be Penelope. Yeah, they could do that. They could do Penelope and Lena with the tag titles and Megan with the TBS titles. We could do Sisters of Sin with the tag titles while Tekla is world champion too. they could do. I like the idea of more women's factions. I think that would be fun. Yes, I'm right there with you, Lauren. And again, it's not Willow's fault. I love her. Would Dakota Kai be a good fit if she can stay healthy, for one? But I know she's going to. I believe she's going to wrestle for Pro Wrestling Eve, and Will Ospreay was really excited to get her, and has been talking about that. So she might be doing that type of thing. I think, isn't she going to Japan, or is that I can't remember if she's actually going to Stardom, or if that was a theory of where people thought she was going. So perhaps she would be a good fit, and depends on how we're booking this, and maybe she'd be a TBS championship contender. Let's see here. Now, I want all women's factions. I want more. I want women gangs in wrestling. If the Death Riders, of course, they have Marina, but if the Death Riders can have a gang, then I want all women. I want an all women's gang. I would like to see it, and a badass one like that, where they kind of teased at the end with Mega Bad and Lena, and wait, who else was standing up there with them? Was it Sisters of Sin? No, I can't remember now. I blanked on who it was, but I want that. I want a faction like that of all badass women who will beat you up. That's what I want. And then if they all had the titles, then that's another story. But let's see here. Says Willow should be world champion, but Chris deserved to be a world champion with a meaningful reign. I'm skeptical how TK books both. And also, I think Chris needs to we talked about this a few weeks ago. Chris needs to figure out who she is. She needs to figure out her character. Is she Stat Daddy? Is she Cosmic Killer? How does she bring it? Can she bring in pieces of both to be one? It's like she has, like Mel and I talked about, like she has all the pieces. She just hasn't quite put them together yet.
She hasn't put them together yet. And I think that unfortunately they kind of had to get the belt off of her because it was revealing that instability in her character was there. And Tekla looks like she knows exactly who she is, and she's going to run with that. And I think it will help to win as well. But Chris is great. She just needs an identity, and that's all.
And like we talked about, like the way she won the title was in a 4-way, and it was she joined the Death Riders. Yuta was in her ear. She? Which I guess it turns out it was like John Moxley was like, I see this in you. You can be a women's champion, and you just have to go do it. But they were teasing a Death Rider thing with her. She wins with Yuta's finisher, who he got from Chucky T, and the seatbelt with the seatbelt finisher, and then she had to beat Tony on her own the next month, and so she just couldn't quite get there. And part of it was booking, but part of it is it just wasn't connecting for whatever reason. And I think it'll get there. Chris just needs the time. I think not having the pressure of the women's title while she does that will probably benefit her. And I think she'll be world champion again once she figures it all out. And so in the meantime, you have Tekla, who, like you said, she is born to be, she looks like she's born to be a champion. She's great on the microphone. She's great in the ring. She has a really great character.
She has no hesitancy about speaking with her accent. She doesn't care how crazy she sounds. She is owning the place right now. I mean, she's going to be great. I think she's going to do a really good job with it. It might bring out, with someone like that, when they're that free, it can really help bring out the best in other women too, because they see, oh my gosh, I can do what she's doing in my way. And that helps. Sometimes just having another person there to emulate can shake up the entire room. It really can.
Yeah, I think she can really elevate the women's title in a different way from Toni Storm.
People want to see her. She gets freaking huge reacts. I mean, she's getting like Toni Storm level reacts right now.
Yeah, she's getting a lot of attention. So I think this could be, if it's booked correctly, could be a really good thing for Tekla. Yeah, so hopefully, fingers crossed. Laurent says that he thinks that Dakota would be great. She can work. She can talk as good as a heel or a face, a good singles or tag. She would raise the in-ring standard too. So I mean,
I think if she's off doing other stuff where she's doing indies first to come back, I think that's always smart. It never hurts to go back to basics and recharge.
Yeah.
Re-find yourself and independent.
Well, and to get away from the system that she was in for a long time in WWE and go test herself against current women. I mean, that's what
she's got a name, so she doesn't need to worry about being on the indie scene the way she did previous to having a name. She can be on them more on her own terms, which means more matches that are more quality, working with coaching staff and other people that around the place. So I mean, I think the idea of her if she is doing Eve, that's awesome because that will help her get out of that. And then any other independence you can do, because that's where you really establish who you are and what kind of characters you're going to have. Is you find yourself there.
Yeah.
So I don't think you ever get too old. I mean, I'm not a wrestler, but I played a sport, and I don't think you're ever too old to go back to the 101, step one of how to do your sport and do that stuff again.
Yeah.
Because it can always help to just go all the way back and start over and practice the basic stuff again.
Yeah.
Because you find a lot when you
and then when you test yourself against other people as different people. I want to go back to something that Michael said, and it's not something I had thought of. Michael says, what, wait, not that one. Hold on. I'm coming back to that comment, but I think there was a comment prior to that. That's what it was. Okay. This is where I was going first. Michael says, have you noticed that they took the Statlander Death Rider angle and gave it to Tony Storm? Why is Stat teaming with Orange or Darby to take on Mox and Marina in a mixed tag match? I think it was just to give her a match in her home country. I think that's where it was. She has a ton of chemistry with Orange, I think. And Orange, obviously, Yuta was in Best Friends with him. And Yuta turned on Best Friends to go be with the Death Riders, and so they have that history. And then Marina and Tony had some history from Blood and Guts, and so I think essentially it was just to get Tony a match at Grand Slam because she wasn't her. They weren't going to do. I guess they decided not to do the Timeless Love Bombs. I think that's really what the point of it was just to get her a match in Australia. I think that's where they are, and they have a lot of fun chemistry. And then he said, what happened to Marina versus Statlander? They teased it for like a half a year. It was the only angle she had. Tony Khan is what happened, I guess. I mean, maybe there's other moving parts. I don't want to just say, I mean, we don't know the behind the scenes stuff. Maybe there were other reasons that they didn't do it, but that's a good, I don't know. And then Michael says, I just don't understand how Marina jumped past Wrestling Willow and went right into a long-term feud with Tony. I mean, I think it was more of, I think part of it is, even though Tony and Mina was working, it was not working, and I think in the way that they thought. I think that had a little bit to do with it. So I think they were trying to put Tony with someone else for a bit. It was to build up the Grand Slam match as well. And then Mina looked really good in that match, the TBS title match on Wednesday. They teased her backstage again. They showed a video on social media. They teased her getting flowers again. And now that somebody they told us a few weeks ago that maybe it's Killer Kelly. I really want it to be Killer Kelly. I hope that's where they're going with this. That would be really, really cool. Yeah, Big Man says that he likes Tekla because she lacks nervousness a lot of women have on the mic, not blaming it on them, but women wrestlers get fewer promo reps and the more scrutiny from the fans from being out there. I mean, Marina is the case in that because she did promos in ROH and they were, bless their heart, they were awful. Like, she had a rough reaction and they didn't know what to do with her because they were pairing her with Nyla Rose for a bit because they didn't know what to do with Marina. Marina went to Wrestling Revolver. And it was just, I was like, why is she not doing this stuff on TV? And John Moxley is involved with Wrestling Revolver because it's in Ohio. He's friends with Jake Chris and Sami Callihan. He and Sami Callihan were a tag team on the Indies years ago. So they have a lot of history. And so he saw what Marina was doing. They became friends. I think I saw something about Marina was going to him for advice and stuff. And then he brought her in to the Death Riders because remember, as we've talked about, Bryan Danielson he wanted a He-Man Woman Haters Club. He did not want women in the BCC. And somebody asked why women are not in the Don Callis family. And I don't know that we should have women in the Don Callis. That seems like a boys' club. And then also, there are some things about Don Callis.
Yeah, Don is not someone that needs
Don
to
Callis has. There are
now.
long-standing rumors about some things that happened when he was in TNA involving a female wrestler. And the information is out there. It's never been confirmed, but the stories are there. And I would say that faction probably should be a He-Man Woman Hater Club. I don't know that we should add women to any faction.
Nah, there's enough guys in there that don't need that.
And eventually we're going to get, I mean, they could just keep expanding if they replace. I mean, I think eventually we're going to get Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita both leaving Don Callis behind. And maybe Kyle Fletcher and his pink belt will let a woman be in his faction. Maybe he'll start a new faction. Maybe him and Sky will be in a faction together. Crash says that reminds me. Any update on Big Tommy Ishii? Was worried when he looked at a lot of discomfort in that match against Connor and Gabe. The only thing that I saw was one of the engagement accounts that says that Dave said that the injury was not as bad as they thought. They dodged a bullet, and that was the only information I had heard at the time. So I don't know if he strained something. It did not. He sounds like did not rupture anything. So maybe it was just he pulled something, but he was struggling, and bless him for finishing that match. So it sounds like from the little bit I've heard, I haven't heard anything since then. So hopefully he is good. You know what? Maybe you're correct. Big Man said he thought that Cross and Scarlett had been public about the Don Callis situation. I can't remember off the top of my head if they have. I do know that their names are linked together. The information is out there. Scarlett maybe they have been, and I just missed it. But yeah. So I would not put I just don't think I would put a woman in the Don Callis faction. No. I think that would be best.
Probably not.
I've not heard anything about, since he's been in AEW. However,
still probably not a good look.
Probably not great. One more thing before we go. I want to why not? Apparently I did not save this match. So let me see if I can find this real quick, because we were talking about Mercedes. Mercedes is going on a European excursion next month. She's got several matches scheduled at various indies. I think not just in the UK. I feel like there's a couple other places. But then CMLL is having a show on. They're having a show on March the 6th. And so Mercedes will defend her CMLL championship on March the 6th. But we don't know who she's wrestling yet, because there's going to be two matches. On March 24th, Olympia, who we have seen a few times. She's been in ROH. She's been on AEW programming, I think like 2 or 3 times. She's very good. She is okay. Wait a minute. So this says that she and Persephone, who is incredible. Also, Persephone is a dual contract wrestler. Even though she signed with CMLL, she also was signed with AEW. She will be, the two of them are facing Zeus, also a good wrestler, and Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, yeah. Wah, wah.
Tessa is in TNA. Still wrestles in CML. There's some contract thing down there that I don't really care about, because I don't care about Tessa Blanchard, and I want her nowhere near AEW. That's the thing I care about the most. If anybody from AEW is listening, please do not bring in Tessa Blanchard. Feelings still have not changed about that, in case you were wondering. So they're having a match on February the 24th. The winning team will then face each other in a singles match on February 27th. And the winner of that match will face Mercedes. And the only correct person to win this match is Persephone.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Persephone has to win that match. Persephone and Mercedes had an incredible match in Arena, Mexico. That's where Mercedes came out on the Selena-inspired gear. They had like a 5-star match. It was Persephone is so good. I am so impressed with her every time I see her wrestle. And Persephone absolutely has to be the one to take that title off of Mercedes. And I still think that's what Mercedes is doing. I still don't have an idea of when I think she'll be back in AEW. Doesn't sound like she'll be back in March at all because she's doing all these dates across. And I think that's kind of her thing is before she comes back, she's just going to start dropping belts. And then she's eventually going to focus on the world title because it's the one title she couldn't win because as Stat kept saying, you just want to win. You're focused on collecting. You're not focused on actually the title that matters the most, which is the women's championship. And I think that's going to circle us back around to Mercedes. So she's already lost a couple of belts and losing the CMLL title would make a ton of sense. And it should be Persephone. Brad says the Persephone was the number one contender spot. I think Mercedes is dropping that title. I think she is too. And it better not be to Tessa Blanchard. Korean said I would boycott AEW if Tessa Blanchard shows up. I would have.
It would not be pretty. It would be a serious consideration.
I have a lot to say about that, and I think a lot of people would.
Yeah, I hope that Tony's not.
I think that if Tony is as online as he is,
which he seems to be, since he even gets in tiffs. I learned today with Fulham. We were watching Fulham and Sunderland earlier, just randomly because it was on the channel from the Olympics. And I was like, wait, this is Tony Khan's team. Well, yeah. It's Shad Khan's team, but Tony runs it. And then Bob was looking and he's like, oh, apparently he has tiffs with the fans with the football team too. And I'm like, shocker.
On brand.
Totally on brand.
Tony Khan, let it be known. We have one person who will boycott, and we have Michael who would throw his TV in the trash if Tessa even shows up. I will. We might have to call an emergency episode of Powerbombshells.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, if she came back, we might have to.
We would have to just have an emergency session about this if Tessa Blanchard shows up. So
yeah, and then a massive intervention.
I'm sure there are people who are like, Tessa said she was sorry and you should put her on TV. And I'm sure there are some of those. But I think the vast majority of people that Tony Khan probably sees talking about Tessa probably knows that would backfire on him.
Why would you do that when you're not going to bring Britt Baker back in the first place? You're already asking for that's worse trouble than Britt Baker, probably.
Yes.
Seriously.
But regardless, Tessa is under contract with TNA.
Good. Stay there.
I don't know what her contract situation is, like how long she's signed or anything like that. But she is still under contract with TNA. So regardless, if somebody is watching this who's AEW adjacent, please make it very clear that nobody wants Tessa Blanchard anywhere near AEW. It's bad enough that she's even getting an adjacent match that could potentially make her a contender, which I don't think is happening. But if you're getting that much of a reaction from just that tells you what you need to know about Tessa Blanchard in 2026. People do not want her on their product. So please don't do that, Tony Khan. Please think very hard about that if you have not already. Yeah. Korean said, I'm not anti-women's wrestling. I mean, but me too. I don't want her anywhere near this product. I don't care if Mercedes likes Tessa. AEW fans don't. that would be, I mean, don't do that. Please, Tony, please don't do that. Ooh, probably Shuri. USBA guy said, who's winning between Shuri and Athena? I knew that Athena is technically winning because this is her dream match and she's wanted it. So she is winning in that sense. But I think Shuri wins. Would I love to see Athena as IWGP Women's Champion? Absolutely. Because Athena is incredible, and she is one of the greatest wrestlers currently out there today. Obviously, Shuri is as well. So this match is going to be a banger. So the fans win. But I think, and I would love to see Athena doing more things with, if I would, in this case, I would welcome a 2-belt Athena. But I think Shuri's retaining. That is my feeling on that. But that match is going to be so good. Yeah, that New Japan USA card does look really good. Athena is, hang on, I'll tell you. I can't remember. She's well past the. She actually tweeted something like a month or so ago at what she was at. Let me look and see. Trying to get Cage Match to pull up. Hold on a second, and I will tell you. She has been champion for as of today. Well, I think it's technically off because I believe this is a UK-based website, so I think there's been a little discrepancy there. I think they're always like a day off, but according to Cage Match, she has been champion for 1,170 days. Let's see here. Oh man, yeah. LaRon's right about that. Athena winning the IWGP title would add to his already incredible title lineage. Yeah, that title lineage is insane. Like the amount of talent that have held that title. Big Dog says, as a Stardom fan, it would really suck for Shuri if she lost because she's kind of been misbooked. Oh, that's unfortunate to hear. Brad says, I've been waiting so long for 1-belt Shuri. I need her to win. My favorite current women's wrestler, the best in the world. And Big Man Dog said, Shuri's basically been used as a tool to avoid having to have Suri and Saya wrestle. And isn't Saya injured? Or didn't she have surgery because she got her fingers broken in a match? I believe she continued the match with broken fingers, and I believe she had to have surgery, or she's going to have surgery. I don't follow Stardom too closely, and so I only see certain things. I know, obviously, I saw her wrestle at Wrestle Kingdom, and I was like, I get the hype. I get it. She's really great. And so I believe she said, and oh my God, shout out to Bianca Belair, because Bianca had surgery finally had surgery on her finger last Monday. And so because I've watched her stories, she pops up for me now. And so the day after surgery, they started her in rehab, and like she has like it's stitched up, and she's having to like bend her finger with the stitches, and like she's nearly been in tears because it hurts so bad. And then for the weekend, or she posted yesterday that Tez had to help her he was her physical therapist over the weekend, and she said it upset him to have to be the one to like bend her finger because it was hurting her. But she can hold her finger in place, like she's able to curl it. She said because I think she said something like it's been 10 months since she broke that finger. She's been in rehab. Obviously, she rehabbed it for a really long time before she even had surgery. And yeah, that finger, the finger looks nasty. She did put up a sensitivity thing and a few pictures, and she had a picture of the open, like where it was open, and you could see into her finger, and bless her for that. And I think she has like 7 stitches, and oh yeah, I hope she has a really smooth recovery because she's been through a lot. She said she learned a lot about joints and fingers since her injury, because she's been out for a really, really long time. And it was just a freak thing that I think it was like Rhea fell on her hand, or in a move she landed on her finger and it like broke her knuckle or something. Like, oof, it was sounds terrible. God, I know, Crash, that shout out to Duckzilla almost breaking his entire hand against Mox, and that was after a second take too. Close call, Mark. Yeah, because it was. And then Danielson was like talking about how it looked like it was swelling up, and I don't know if he was selling it but Mark's hand was wrapped pretty tight last night, and Mark has already lost time because he broke his hand at a Wrestle Dream against Aussie Open, wrestled FTR, and he broke his hand, and that was basically the end of Aussie Open because he had to recover from that surgery and he was off for so long. And then Kyle Fletcher decided, I'm going to just break out and be this incredible singles wrestler and leave my partner in the dust while his hand heals. And so I was like, please don't let Mark Davis have another broken hand. Bless his heart. But yeah, that match was rough. That match was so good. I was very excited about it. And then next week, we are getting a big meaty men's slap and meat match because we are getting Brody King versus Mark Davis, and that match is going to be so good. I'm here for it. USVA guy said it's time for everyone to get together. Can I expect both of you for the Chicago NG1? I am going to try my best. I don't know when tickets go on sale. I don't know if you have heard when tickets go on sale, USVA guy, but I am absolutely planning to try to go. I want to go very badly. I know people in our group are trying to, in the Fight Game Media group, are talking about it as well. So
it is driving distance for us. However, money has been incredibly tight, so it's going to really depend on what kind of money we have. And there's a couple of trips that need to be made because there's time sensitive this year in terms of making sure that, as we've talked about at the top of the show, making sure that you are hugging your people and spending time with them as much as possible, because you never know when you might see them for the last time. So
for sure,
I definitely would like that to be on my list of places this year. It's just going to depend on what this year shakes out for.
Yeah.
So, because again, that one's drivable for me, and we can maybe like pool our resources and.
Yeah, it definitely depends on if we can get tickets. But I would like,
because you guys have to fly out.
It's only an hour and a half flight for us.
Bad.
We learned that.
And
going
DTW, our airport is awesome. Like, it's very, very usable.
We flew in and out of. Wait, was it O'Hare that we flew in and out of?
You know what? But don't sleep on Midway because
maybe it was Midway. You know what? I think it was because it was a smaller airport.
Because that's the off airport. O'Hare is the big one, and Midway is
Midway.
I
think no, I take that back. Midway, I think is.
And there is a T stop right in Midway. So, or a T stop. Listen to me, I'm from Boston. It's the L in Chicago. But yes, there is an L stop right in Midway Airport, which is awesome. So
yeah, you know what? Now that I say that, I think it was Midway that we flew in and out of.
Don't sleep on it because the prices are reasonable. You can take the train right into the city. And
there's some. Yeah,
the loop is great. I mean, fortunately, Chicago is the city that has an excellent public transportation situation. Yes. So
also, the G1 is on a Saturday because I looked to see when it was.
Better.
And Nikki, it's 2 days before Nikki's birthday, which was another reason we were looking at going. Yeah. And then because I was looking like, okay, if we fly in, do we fly, is it a midweek thing or so? It's like, no, it's a Saturday, so we can fly in. Technically, we'll fly in Saturday, but it makes me nervous flying in on the same day of events. I would rather fly in the day before, and that way I could see people too, if people wanted to get together on Friday night. So I don't know for sure. I've looked at it. We'll just kind of see how things go, but it potentially is a situation where we could fly in on Friday and fly out Sunday type of thing. Or unless Nikki wants to spend the day of her birthday in Chicago, I guess, depending on how much hotels are. But yeah, so it is something we're strongly considering and we are looking at, and depends on, definitely finances play a role in that, and trying to get G1 tickets, which I don't think is going to be super hard to get, but I really like trying to manifest this, I will say. Michael said, you mean the idiot actually punched the ring post? I thought it was just a blade job. Why would he do that after being out so long in the with a hand injury? I don't think he meant to. I think Mox moved before he could brace himself, I think. The Crash said there was a girl in the audience who heard his hand clobber the post. You can see her reaction right after. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was legit. I mean, maybe Danielson was doing his job and selling it on commentary, but he was like, oh my God, it looks like it's swelling. So, hey, maybe Danielson was doing a very good job, but no, it looked like he legitimately hit it because it was bleeding immediately after he was on the ground. And I think it was legit, but maybe he got me. Maybe it really wasn't. Maybe he did bleed, but I think he really hit it. And Curry had said it's just a quick hour flight from Memphis. you could come too if you would like. All right. I believe that we have covered everything on our topics list. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for letting me talk about some of the Carolina stuff that was happening that's been happening the last week and a half or so, and then obviously the Janel Grant stuff we needed to talk about, then ended it with the fun stuff. So thank you again for letting us be here and talking to us about it and talking to us about everything else. And we will be back next week, and then we'll know what stipulations are, and maybe we can figure out what Hangman is going to do with his Cody stipulation.
And we will be celebrating our birthday next week.
Yeah. Oh, wait, that is right. We are celebrating. So our technical actual birthday
is
Friday. But we decided to, since it's so close to the weekend, instead of doing it today, we want to do it next Sunday. So yes, we will be celebrating our 4th birthday, technically on Friday, but we will be celebrating with all of you next Sunday. So come celebrate, knock on wood. We don't have anything crazy to talk about. We can just have a fun show.
Hush. You hush.
Listen, wrestling.
I know.
Wrestling just be good to us. Let us have things to talk about and good positive things to talk about. We might have I believe there may be a wrestling game that might be played.
Yeah, I have some ideas, but
so
I don't want
to
under promise, over deliver, Sam.
Right, there we go.
All right, you guys, we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for being here. We love having you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Have a good one.